Chapter 3381, Enter the Soul Void to kill it. To be safe, Lin Moyu enhanced Ji Yu Hanyu's luck. Stronger luck could slightly increase Ji Yu Hanyu's power. Lin Moyu could see that although Ji Yu Hanyu said he could break open the ice vortex, he didn't actually have much confidence in saying this. Since that was the case, he would increase Ji Yu Hanyu's chances of success. While enhancing Ji Yu Hanyu's luck, Lin Moyu had already separated out the luck Great Dao, closely following Ji Yu Hanyu and waiting for an opportunity. Ji Yu Hanyu charged forward, raising his battle blade high. Divine talismans flashed on the blade as an enormous aura burst out in all directions. This ancient and powerful battle blade was likely a Great Dao realm treasure. Once fully activated, its power was truly astonishing. The blade light crashed down with a boom, brighter than the glacier, flashing past like lightning. The ice vortex enveloping the Black Blood Fist Saint paused for a moment in the light, and a tiny crack appeared in the vortex. The crack was small, not much bigger than a fist. For the ice vortex connecting heaven and earth, such a tiny crack was almost negligible. But it was precisely this insignificant crack that allowed Lin Moyu to seize his chance. The closely following luck Great Dao, carrying Lin Moyu's will, rushed into the crack and landed on the Black Blood Fist Saint's main body. This was Lin Moyu's first time using Great Dao enemy lock to lock onto the Black Blood Fist Saint. The moment he completed the lock, Lin Moyu immediately felt an indescribable aversion, countless times stronger than usual. In Lin Moyu's soul world, in his ears and mind, the Black Blood Fist Saint's angry roars constantly sounded. Each roar was like a thunderbolt from a clear sky, making Lin Moyu feel very uncomfortable. At this moment, deep in Lin Moyu's heart, a thought kept arising: rush over and kill it. Ignoring the ice vortex and any danger, his entire heart had only one word: kill. The dragon soul crystal emitted dragon roars, the world tree shook wildly, and clear spring-like water poured down, sobering Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu was rarely shocked. In that instant just now, he had almost lost control of his Dao heart. He had always thought his Dao heart was as firm as a rock, unshakable. Unexpectedly, just one Great Dao enemy lock almost made him lose control. Lin Moyu firmly remembered that moment of experience, unforgettable for a lifetime. In that instant, he was closest to the Black Blood Fist Saint, as if seeing endless black blood surging over to engulf him. He knew the essence of the Black Blood Great Realm was an extremely powerful, evil, pitch-black blood. But he had never come into contact with it before. This was the first time. Lin Moyu realized he had still underestimated the opponent. The terrifying power of the Black Blood Great Realm far exceeded his imagination. But it was precisely because of this contact that Lin Moyu knew how to deal with the Black Blood Fist Saint's main body. After simulating in his mind, Lin Moyu felt his idea was feasible. The corners of his mouth turned up slightly. "Old Tree, I've thought of a way to kill him." Old Tree asked, "What way?" Lin Moyu said, "I've already locked onto it through the luck Great Dao, but this lock won't last long. It will soon be worn away by the ice vortex. Even if I use Great Dao Essence Fire, I can't burn it to death in such a short time. But at present, Great Dao Essence Fire seems to be the best way to kill it. So I was thinking, perhaps I could burn it directly from the soul void using Great Dao Essence Fire." Old Tree's expression changed drastically. "What nonsense are you talking about?" Lin Moyu said, "I'm not talking nonsense. This is the best method I can think of. Old Tree, just tell me, is my method feasible or not?" Old Tree shook his head. No, your method is too dangerous. The soul void is not a place for you to go now." Lin Moyu smiled slightly. "So apart from being dangerous, it's actually possible." Old Tree still shook his head. "No, you can't go." At this time, Ji Yu Hanyu flew back. He had heard their conversation. Old Tree is right. The soul void is still too dangerous for you now. It's easy to get lost. Lin Moyu said, "Although this junior doesn't understand the soul void that well, I know that the soul void reflects our positions in reality. We're so close to it, so we shouldn't be far apart in the soul void either. And with Great Dao enemy lock, I believe I can find it." Old Tree still shook his head. "No, the soul void is too dangerous. You're only at 4th level Dao Venerable. Even with Great Dao Essence Fire, it's not enough. Moreover, you could easily get lost in the soul void. If that happens, you'll never be able to come back." Ji Yu Hanyu said, "Indeed, if you want to use this method to kill it, then forget it." Lin Moyu said, "To be honest, this junior has actually been to the soul void several times. Once I even encountered a powerful being and made some enmity. The soul void isn't unfamiliar to this junior. I have some confidence. How about this, I'll go try. If it doesn't work, I'll immediately come back. Seeing Lin Moyu's determined look, Ji Hanyu asked in a low voice, you really want to go? Lin Moyu made an affirmative sound, this is the best way to kill it. Other methods aren't reliable. Indeed, Lin Moyu was right. Other methods weren't very reliable. If they couldn't kill the Black Blood Fist Saint, they would be trapped here forever, and all their previous efforts would be wasted. Ji Hanyu said, if you must go, then try to get as close to it as possible. This way, your distance in the soul void will also be shorter. You get closer, and old tree and I will protect you. You can go with peace of mind. Lin Moyu nodded and immediately walked towards the ice vortex. He could feel the power of the ice vortex. The huge force coming at him made each step difficult. At this time, Ji Hanyu and Old Tree came to his side. Their power formed two large umbrellas, completely blocking out the force of the ice vortex. Under their protection, Lin Moyu got as close as possible to the Black Blood Fist Saint. Through the ice vortex, he saw the bloodlight in the Black Blood Fist Saint's eyes, filled with endless killing intent and bloodthirst. Lin Moyu ignored its gaze, closed his eyes slightly, and sank his consciousness into his soul. The gate to his soul world opened, and Lin Moyu flew out. In the soul void, there was nothing, no markers to guide direction. The only connection was a faint link between his soul and his soul world. However, this connection was easily broken when the distance was too great. Once broken, it would be very difficult for the soul to find its way home in the vast void. Lin Moyu didn't move immediately, but instead drew an extremely complex rune. After the rune was completed, it split in half. He threw one half of the rune into his soul world and kept the other half with him. For a considerable period of time, the two halves of the rune would sense each other, able to guide Lin Moyu's way. After drawing the rune, he began to sense the Black Blood Fist Saint's location. The Luck Great Tao appeared, and Lin Moyu's luck kept rising. At the same time, the soul mark left on the Black Blood Fist Saint began to become clearer. Found it. With a thought, Lin Moyu turned into a shooting star and flew towards the opponent's location. Asterisk 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 asterisk. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3382, 3382. Chapter 3382, someone came looking. This wasn't Lin Moyu's first time in the soul void. Though he couldn't say he was familiar with it, at least it wasn't unfamiliar. Lin Moyu never did anything he wasn't confident about. The reason he chose this was because he had assurance in his heart. When he completed the Great Tao Lock earlier, Lin Moyu felt for the first time the darkness and terror from the Black Blood Great Realm. At the same time, he also felt that the distance between his soul and the Black Blood Fist Saint's soul wasn't far. This distance was the distance within the soul void, a distance he could reach. Lin Moyu flew straight towards the aura from the Great Tao Lock, while also carrying some curiosity. Let me see, what does your soul really look like? He had never seen what a Black Blood person's soul looked like before. For cultivators of the Origin continent, the appearance of their soul was the same as their physical body. But this didn't mean it was the same for people from the Black Blood Great Realm. The distance grew closer and closer. Finally, Lin Moyu saw a glimmer of blood light. I've arrived. With a thought, Lin Moyu stopped far away. He finally saw the soul of a Black Blood person. It had no form, wasn't black clothed, but was just a ball of dark red fresh blood. The fresh blood emitted red light in the dim soul void. Outside the fresh blood was a thin, transparent bubble. The bubble looked very fragile, but was actually incredibly tough. Lin Moyu looked from afar, muttering to himself, the people of the Black Blood Great Realm all evolved from a ball of fresh blood. Their souls themselves are a drop of fresh blood. Can it be considered that all people of the Black Blood Great Realm are avatars of that ball of blood? A ball of blood evolved into a powerful world. What kind of blood could be so terrifying? Lin Moyu couldn't imagine that level of existence. But now, he had his own task to do. He didn't get any closer, but released the world-burning fire from far away. The world-burning fire streaked across the soul void and landed on the Black Blood Fist Saint's soul. Ah! Screams echoed through the soul void. The black blood was enveloped by the world-burning fire. Cracks began to appear in the outer bubble. The world-burning fire directly burned the soul, its effect countless times better than outside. If it would take an hour to burn outside, perhaps just a few minutes would be enough here. The screams were unending, but Lin Moyu remained unmoved. Suddenly, Lin Moyu found himself locked onto by a will. "It's you. This saint will kill you." An angry roar sounded as the black blood surged towards Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu retreated almost instinctively. He didn't need to fight the opponent now. He just needed to drag it out for a while and the world-burning fire would burn it to death. It chased very quickly, but Lin Moyu fled even faster. Moreover, Lin Moyu had a good sense of rhythm. He wasn't fleeing chaotically. He seemed to have no direction, no pattern, even appearing slightly panicked. In fact, Lin Moyu was always circling within an area. His connection to his soul world was never broken. Under the burning of the world-burning fire, the Black Blood Fist Saint grew weaker and weaker. Towards the end, its speed also slowed down. It could only keep screaming and wailing. Finally, after persisting for 10 minutes, the Black Blood Fist Saint's soul was finally burned to death, leaving behind a soul crystal in the soul void. The soul crystal was a bit small, because the Black Blood Fist Saint's soul was actually only a bit over 30%, not a complete soul. However, the soul crystal's grade wasn't low. After all, it was the soul of a being equivalent to a 7th grade innate soul Great Tao Realm powerhouse. Putting away the soul crystal, Lin Moyu chuckled, time to go back. Having successfully burned the Black Blood Fist Saint's soul to death, Lin Moyu wasn't complacent. He knew very clearly that the reason it went so smoothly was because the opponent's soul was only a bit over 30% of its peak state, in a severely injured condition. Its combat power on the soul level was probably not even 1,000th of its peak. If it had been a soul at peak condition, equivalent to a 7th grade innate soul at the Great Tao Realm, Lin Moyu would probably have been killed instantly. The only thing worth being happy about now was that the world-burning fire was indeed the best method for dealing with souls. However, although the world-burning fire was strong, it also depended on the relative realms of both sides. If the difference in realms was too great, the world-burning fire would still be useless. Only when the realms were similar would the world-burning fire be an invincible existence roaming the soul void. Walking back along his connection to his soul world, Lin Moyu pondered two strange things he had discovered. First, he could actually understand what the other side was saying. The Black Blood Fist Saint called itself, this saint, which should be a form of address in the Black Blood Great Realm. Second, when he saw the Black Blood Fist Saint's soul, he didn't feel any aversion. After a moment's thought, Lin Moyu knew why this was. The reason was actually very simple, because there was no great Tao of the origin continent in the soul void. On the origin continent, whether it was not understanding the other side's words or the strong feeling of aversion, it was actually all because of the great Tao. But in the soul void, the influence of the great Tao disappeared, so many things became different. After flying for a while, he saw his soul world in the distance. Suddenly, Lin Moyu stopped. Outside his soul world, a black shadow had appeared. This black shadow was very large, not smaller than his soul world. The faint light from the soul world fell on it, revealing its outline. A huge python was coiling around his soul world. Lin Moyu frowned slightly. What's this? At the moment he left his soul world, there had been a brief leak of his soul world's aura. This was unavoidable. Just those few seconds of leakage had attracted a powerful being from the soul void. Lin Moyu felt that things couldn't be this coincidental. There were probably other reasons. As he was pondering, the python's tail suddenly slammed onto the soul world. The soul world rumbled non-stop, sending a warning to Lin Moyu's soul. Then countless vines burst out from the soul world, weaving into a large net and covering the python. The python was caught in the net. It struggled and thrashed wildly, biting at the net repeatedly, trying to tear it apart. With Lin Moyu absent, the World Tree took the initiative to counterattack. Not just the World Tree, a gate opened in the soul world and the Dragon Soul Crystal rushed out fiercely. The 11-colored Dragon Soul Crystal transformed into a huge divine dragon, immediately biting towards the python. The divine dragon transformed from the Dragon Soul Crystal wasn't much smaller than the python. With one bite, it tore open the python's skin and flesh. The world tree coordinated with the dragon soul crystal, firmly restricting the python's movements. The dragon soul crystal bit down again and again, leaving the python covered in wounds. The python screamed and struggled even more frantically. With a boom, it broke free from the world tree's restraints and grappled with the dragon soul crystal. Lin Moyu could already see that although this python was huge, it wasn't actually very powerful. Its realm should be around 7th level Dao Venerable. Knowing the opponent's strength, Lin Moyu didn't intervene much. It was a good chance to see how powerful the world tree and dragon soul crystal were. Why do I feel there's a familiar aura on this python? Lin Moyu searched through his memories and quickly found the corresponding target. It was the one who had injured Dragon Prosperity and attached to Dragon Prosperity's soul. Clearly, this python was related to that being. Sure enough, they wouldn't let me off so easily. Before I even went to the Soul Void, they already sent someone to find me. The Soul Void is vast and boundless. It shouldn't be easy to find me, right? Lin Moyu knew the other side would definitely send people to find him, but it would be difficult to actually find him. The Soul Void was incredibly vast. This time, he had leaked some aura because he needed to kill the Black Blood Fist Saint. Otherwise, the other side wouldn't have been able to find him. Looks like I'll have to be more careful in the future. Lin Moyu muttered to himself as he flicked his finger, sending out a line of world-burning fire. Asterisk 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 asterisk. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3383, 3383. Chapter 3383, who exactly is that guy? The giant python looked big enough, but its combat power was actually average. The world-burning fire burned it to ashes very quickly, turning it into a soul crystal. In terms of soul crystal quality, it was far inferior to the one refined from the Black Blood Fist Saint. This should be cannon fodder, Lin Moyu thought to himself. That being in the Soul Void had sent out many people to find him, but most were probably just cannon fodder. Suddenly, Lin Moyu's expression changed slightly. No, that's not right. It left a trace of its aura in the python's soul. Now that I've killed the python, it means this aura will dissipate, and it can use the aura to locate me. The location of my soul world has been exposed. This is bad. Regardless of whether his thoughts were correct or not, Lin Moyu very decisively moved his soul world's location. The soul world's position in the soul void had a corresponding relationship with its position in the real world, but it wasn't unchangeable. As the physical body's position changed in the real world, the soul world's position in the soul void would also change accordingly. However, changes in the soul world's position wouldn't affect the physical body's location in the real world. But moving the soul world wasn't so easy. The dragon soul crystal transformed into a divine dragon, working together with Lin Moyu's soul to push the soul world to move. The world tree also helped, extending countless branches that turned into a pair of large hands, pushing the soul world. With the three working together, the soul world slowly changed position. As it moved, the soul world, which had been glowing, gradually dimmed and finally disappeared completely in the soul void. The soul void was a very peculiar space. Though it seemed vast and boundless, the range of vision was extremely limited. The area one could see was very small. Even with a soul world right in front, if one wasn't close enough, it couldn't be seen. At the place where the soul world had been, Lin Moyu left a skeleton. Not long after Lin Moyu moved the soul world, this skeleton general suddenly shattered silently. At the moment the skeleton general shattered, Lin Moyu saw through its vision an incredibly vigorous and powerful soul flame. In the endless glacier, the ice vortex suppressing the Black Blood Fist Saint suddenly began to weaken, then disappeared. The Black Blood Fist Saint's body also collapsed at the same time, turning into a pool of black-red blood. The blood was its remains. The powerhouses of the Black Blood Great Realm evolved from fresh blood, and after death, they would turn back into black blood. Old Tree's face showed delight as he excitedly called out, "It succeeded." Ji Hanyu nodded, "It seems to have succeeded. Young friend Lin's methods are truly extraordinary." They were both familiar with the soul void and knew how difficult it was to kill someone there. Lin Moyu being able to erase the Black Blood Fist Saint in the soul void showed his superior skills. Now that the ice vortex had dispersed, the two of them also relaxed. Time passed minute by minute, but Lin Moyu still hadn't woken up, causing the two to start worrying again. Old Tree muttered, "It's been quite some time. He should be back by now. Young friend Lin hasn't gotten lost in the soul void, has he? That would be troublesome. Old Gu, should I go look in the soul void? Our soul worlds shouldn't be too far apart." Gu Hanyu said, "It's no use even if you go, unless your luck is explosive." Old Tree said, "I know the chances of finding young friend Lin in the vast void are very low, but if we don't go look, it's really hard to accept. We can't just watch young friend Lin get lost in the soul void like this." Gu Hanyu said, "We can't be certain if he's lost yet. Perhaps something is delaying him." Old Tree knew there was no use in being anxious. Whether Lin Moyu was lost or not couldn't be determined yet. The best thing to do was to wait. After waiting for half a day, Old Tree's patience seemed to have worn out. "No, I still need to go in and look." At this point, Gu Hanyu also realized something was wrong. "Let me go instead. My soul is a bit stronger than yours, so I can search a larger area." This time, Old Tree didn't argue. "All right, you go then. Be careful." Just as Gu Hanyu was about to enter his soul world, he suddenly looked down at Lin Moyu. Old Tree also looked at Lin Moyu almost at the same time. The aura on Lin Moyu's body had changed, quickly becoming intense from its previous faint state. His soul had returned. Lin Moyu slowly opened his eyes. "Sorry to keep the two elders waiting for so long. Fortunately, I didn't fail the mission." Old Tree's expression changed as if he had switched faces. His worry was swept away, replaced by a smile. "It's good that young friend Lin is all right." This bit of time was just enough for this old man to yawn. Gu Hanyu asked at this point, "What happened in the soul void? Why did it take so long?" Lin Moyu said, "This junior once offended a powerful being in the soul void. It sent out many people to search for this junior's soul world. This time it almost found me, so this junior had to move the soul world's location." Gu Hanyu frowned. "Tell us in detail." "All right." Lin Moyu had wanted to tell them for a while. Gu Hanyu and Old Tree's understanding of the soul void was certainly far beyond his own. Telling them about the situation might get him some useful advice. Lin Moyu explained very thoroughly, recounting the entire process in detail. He even included how he had left the skeleton general behind just now, thus confirming that the other side could really find him. After Lin Moyu finished speaking, Old Tree urgently asked, "Are you sure that being's face was like a lion and like a tiger?" Lin Moyu pointed his finger, and light intertwined to form a projection. The projection showed the face he had seen that day in the soul void. Old Tree and Gu Hanyu exchanged a glance. From their eyes, Lin Moyu could see their gravity. Gu Hanyu said, "You should move your soul world further away, as far as possible." Lin Moyu said, "My soul world isn't staying still now, it's still moving. And I've completely suppressed my soul world's aura, so it shouldn't be easy to discover." Old Tree said, "You still need to be careful. That guy is very petty. Once you've offended it, it won't let you off easily." Lin Moyu asked, "Who exactly is that guy?" Old Tree said, "Due to the rules, we can't tell you too specifically, but we can say that that being is very powerful. Even with your great Tao essence fire, you're no match for it." Lin Moyu of course understood he was no match for it. He also knew Old Tree probably had some concerns and couldn't say many things. When he had talked about the soul void with the Beast Emperor before, the Beast Emperor had also been hesitant and vague, clearly restricted. Lin Moyu said, "Could Old Tree please tell this junior what you can say?" Old Tree was just about to say something when Gu Hanyu cut in. "Actually, we can't say much. The situation in the soul void is far more complex than you imagine. You'll only understand the specifics when you reach the Great Tao realm and go to the outer Great Tao. What we can tell you now is that that being is very strong. Its soul is almost at the level of a 4th grade innate soul. Even though you possess Great Tao Essence Fire, it's best not to encounter it before your soul reaches the level of a 7th grade innate soul. Moreover, it's not the strongest. There are even more powerful beings behind it. Move your soul world far away. As long as it's far enough, it will be very difficult for it to find you. Asterisk 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 asterisk. ko-fi.com/translate toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3384, 3384. Chapter 3384, Another Way to Erase, Great Tao Rewards. Afraid Old Tree might say something wrong and reveal information he shouldn't, Ji Hanyu rushed to explain things to Lin Moyu. His explanation could be said to be watertight. Lin Moyu couldn't get any more information from his words. Ji Hanyu's personality was more cautious than Old Tree's. Lin Moyu could only express understanding about this, and wouldn't force them to say more. From Ji Hanyu's words, 2 points could be summarized. First, the situation in the Soul Void was incredibly complex, not as simple as Lin Moyu had imagined. Second, that being was not something Lin Moyu could provoke. It was powerful itself, and there were even stronger existences behind it, so Lin Moyu could only flee, and the further he fled the better. As for where to flee, no one could say clearly whether fleeing further away or closer was better. They could only rely on luck. Fortunately, Lin Moyu's luck had always been good, and he also had the luck Great Tao to enhance his luck. Lin Moyu believed the direction he fled wouldn't be wrong. Lin Moyu suddenly asked curiously, why hasn't the Great Tao reward descended? Old Tree chuckled, because there's still one last step. He pointed to the glacier not far away. Lin Moyu saw a small pool of black-red fresh blood on the glacier, from which he could still sense considerable power. He knew this was the corpse left behind by the Black Blood Fist Saint. Ji Hanyu said, this is Black Blood Corpse. It has corrosive properties and is not tolerated by the Great Tao. To obtain the Great Tao reward, you need to erase it. Old Tree said, we deliberately left this for you. You killed all the previous Black Blood remnant souls, so if you erase this final Black Blood corpse, you'll get the most benefits from the Great Tao reward. Lin Moyu sensed Old Tree and Ji Hanyu's good intentions. They could have erased the Black Blood corpse themselves, but if they did, Lin Moyu would receive less of the Great Tao reward. So they had been waiting for Lin Moyu to take action, wanting to give as much of the Great Tao reward to him as possible. Erasing the Black Blood corpse was simple. Just burning it with the world-burning fire would do. Lin Moyu was about to take action when suddenly a thought occurred to him, and he didn't release the world-burning fire. The Black Blood corpse came from the Black Blood Great Realm and wasn't tolerated by the Great Tao of the origin continent, so it needed to be erased. But there were many ways to erase it. The world-burning fire was just one of them. In fact, just removing the Black Blood corpse from the origin continent would count as erasing it. This gave Lin Moyu another idea. Could he put the Black Blood corpse into his storage space? After all, this was the Black Blood Fist Saint's corpse. If used for corpse explosion, the effect should be quite astonishing. Even if it was somewhat damaged, its power in life wasn't weak. It should be able to kill an ordinary Great Tao realm being when exploded. If successful, he would have another trump card. Thinking of this, Lin Moyu acted. With a thought, he found a place in his storage space and then put the Black Blood corpse inside. The Black Blood corpse went in very smoothly. The storage space wasn't corroded either. The whole process was no different from him storing an ordinary item. However, Old Tree and Ji Hanyu's eyes simultaneously showed surprise. They knew very well that the Black Blood corpse wasn't an ordinary item. Normal storage treasures couldn't possibly contain it. Clearly, Lin Moyu had an extremely powerful storage treasure. But even with a storage treasure, how could this count as erasing the Black Blood corpse? They shouldn't be able to obtain the Great Tao reward this way. Old Tree was about to say something when suddenly a beam of light came from beyond the sky, falling onto Old Tree. Great Tao reward! Old Tree exclaimed in shock, his face full of astonishment. Not just him, Ji Hanyu's face was also full of shock. The Black Blood corpse clearly hadn't been erased, yet the Great Tao reward had descended. They understood the implications of this all too well. For this to happen meant that Lin Moyu's storage treasure could shield against the Great Tao. A storage treasure beyond the Great Tao realm. The same thought occurred to both of them. Only a treasure surpassing the Great Tao realm could possibly shield against the Great Tao. They could never have imagined that Lin Moyu would have a treasure above the Great Tao realm. But reality was just so, whether they could imagine it or not, it had happened. A second beam of light fell, landing on Ji Yu Hanyu. Ji Yu Hanyu's light was more intense than old trees, meaning Ji Yu Hanyu would receive more rewards, as he had contributed more. Both closed their eyes, enjoying the Great Tao reward. As for what rewards they would choose, only they knew. The final beam of light fell down. This light was dazzlingly strong, shining directly onto Lin Moyu, illuminating even the endless glacier somewhat. As the Great Tao reward descended, Lin Moyu immediately began condensing Tao patterns with all his might. This Great Tao reward was stronger than all previous ones, because the Black Blood Fist Saint they had killed this time had reached the 7th Saint level, equivalent to a 7th grade innate soul Great Tao realm being. The Outer Realm Divine Gods killed before were only equivalent to 9th grade innate soul Great Tao realm beings. The two couldn't be compared. Moreover, Lin Moyu had contributed the most, so he would get at least 70% of the Great Tao reward. In the intense Great Tao reward, Tao patterns rapidly took shape. In less than 10 minutes, the 86th Tao pattern had formed. Then, the 87th Tao pattern, the 88th Tao pattern, all quickly took shape. Under the Great Tao reward, Tao patterns were forming at a rate of 1 every 10 minutes, extremely efficient. Lin Moyu had obtained countless opportunities. The Tao patterns that others took hundreds of years to condense one of, he had already increased to condensing one per year. But even so, Lin Moyu still wasn't satisfied. He still tried every means to increase the speed of Tao pattern condensation. The Great Tao reward was naturally the best method. This condensation speed was unimaginable for ordinary cultivators. Old Tree and Ji Yu Hanyu opened their eyes one after the other as their Great Tao rewards ended. They both looked at Lin Moyu, who was still in the midst of receiving his Great Tao reward. Old Tree said in a low voice, "Such dense Great Tao light. This reward is very strong. I wonder what reward young friend Lin wants." Ji Yu Hanyu pondered, it should be cultivation. But Old Tree didn't think so. Young friend Lin is only a bit over 3,000 years old yet has reached this level. His cultivation speed must be very fast. He shouldn't need the Great Tao reward to improve. Why not use the Great Tao reward to exchange for some good things that can't be obtained otherwise? Ji Yu Hanyu said, "How do you know his fast cultivation speed before wasn't because of Great Tao rewards?" Old Tree was suddenly dumbfounded. How did this old man not think of that? Young friend Lin said he had dealt with the Black Blood Great Realm before. Doesn't that mean he had killed beings from the Black Blood Great Realm before and obtained Great Tao rewards? Ji Yu Hanyu said, "We'll know if we ask him later." Old Tree nodded and looked at Ji Yu Hanyu. "Old Ji Yu, what reward did you choose this time?" Ji Yu Hanyu said, "I chose a portion of Great Tao Cold Essence." Old Tree grinned. This old man was similar. "I chose a portion of Great Tao Water King." Clearly both were very satisfied with their Great Tao rewards. There was no envy or jealousy in their eyes, just calmness. Lin Moyu bathed in the Great Tao light, the aura on his body fluctuating continuously like waves, one after another. A moment later, the waves suddenly gathered together, turning into a huge tidal wave. Lin Moyu's aura suddenly surged, breaking through the limits of 4th level Tao Venerable and rushing towards a higher level. Old Tree was surprised. His realm is increasing. Young friend Lin really is cultivating. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3385, 3385. Chapter 3385, Tao Lord Potential, Great Tao Divine Ability. In less than an hour after the Great Tao reward descended, Lin Moyu successfully condensed his 90th Tao pattern, breaking through the limits of 4th level Tao Venerable and smoothly advancing to 5th level Tao Venerable. His accumulation was too profound, making the breakthrough effortless and natural. His aura increased sharply as powerful forces were born within his body, and his soul power became even more vast. All his powers were increasing. Each spell star flickered with light as their power changed along with his realm. However, it was only an increase in power. The spell stars didn't fundamentally change. The combat power of the undead army increased, but their numbers didn't change. As his realm increased, it became more difficult for spells to undergo qualitative changes. But as long as the spells were still strengthening, Lin Moyu was very satisfied. His spells were already too strong. If they kept undergoing qualitative changes, Lin Moyu was even worried it might bring some unwanted consequences. Everything has its extremes. A delicate balance needs to be maintained between yin and yang. This advancement was within Lin Moyu's expectations. The whole process could be said to be uneventful. However, when condensing Tao patterns, Lin Moyu still noticed some differences. The difference came from the power contained in the Tao patterns. Previously, when he comprehended multiple great Taos, the multiple great Taos didn't fuse when condensing Tao patterns but remained independent. This resulted in each Tao pattern having its own attributes. Although they were all his Tao patterns, the great Tao power contained within them was actually different. This wasn't noticeable normally, but it was always a problem. The Tao patterns condensed this time showed obvious differences. Each Tao pattern contained the power of 6 great Taos. This power was led by the life and death force of the undying great Tao, fusing the power of the other 5 great Taos together to form a whole. There was no conflict, it was very harmonious and very powerful. This was related to his comprehension of multiple great Tao cultivation methods. Since he himself was already led by the undying great Tao, the Tao patterns naturally changed. So starting from the 86th Tao pattern, each Tao pattern was stronger than those condensed before. The increase wasn't much, just a little bit, but Lin Moyu didn't care about how strong the Tao patterns were. What mattered was that the essence of the Tao patterns had changed, which was more important than the effect. Now his Tao patterns were divided into 2 batches, old and new. The new batch consisted of 5 new Tao patterns that fused 6 great Taos. The old batch consisted of 85 Tao patterns that each fused different great Tao powers. For Lin Moyu, this wasn't a good thing. The Tao patterns needed to be unified not just individually, but as a whole. So after completing the breakthrough, while the great Tao reward was still abundant, Lin Moyu stopped condensing new Tao patterns and used the great Tao reward to transform the old Tao patterns instead. Transformation was much easier than condensation and much faster. He could transform several patterns almost every minute. This efficiency exceeded Lin Moyu's expectations. Lin Moyu felt that the reason he could transform so smoothly was related to his soul level. His soul level had already reached 8th grade innate soul, and was even in the late stage, no worse than Ji-Yu Hanyu's. Although the 8th grade innate soul currently couldn't be converted into his actual combat power, the different level could imperceptibly bring many benefits. The most direct benefit was that he could comprehend the great Tao faster. It was the same now. The speed of transforming Tao patterns was very fast. He had finished transforming all the old Tao patterns before the great Tao reward ended. The 90 Tao patterns became identical, resonating with each other like starlight illuminating his soul. The Tao patterns became a whole. Lin Moyu felt his spells had strengthened a bit more, and his soul had also become a bit stronger. His foundation became more profound. Future breakthroughs would be easier, without any bottlenecks. The great Tao reward finally ended. This time only 5 new Tao patterns were condensed, but Lin Moyu wasn't disappointed at all. On the contrary, he was somewhat excited. Completely transforming the old Tao patterns was more important than condensing new ones. After the great Tao reward ended, Lin Moyu glanced at his soul world. His soul world was currently moving, with the world tree and dragon soul crystal pushing it towards an unknown place. Lin Moyu left the soul crystals in his soul world for the dragon soul crystal to eat when it returned. He slowly opened his eyes to see old tree smiling at him. "Congratulations, young friend Lin. You've broken through again." Lin Moyu smiled and said, "Thank you, old tree. This junior just broke through with the help of the great Tao reward." Old tree said, "There are countless paths of cultivation. Sudden enlightenment, pills, hard cultivation are all paths, and so are great Tao rewards. In the end, we only look at results, not the process." Lin Moyu nodded. This junior has learned. At this time, Lin Moyu noticed Ji-Yu Hanyu looking at him strangely. He asked curiously, "Is there something wrong with me?" Ji-Yu Hanyu said, "You have a lot of Tao patterns." Lin Moyu frankly admitted, "Indeed, quite a few." Ji-Yu Hanyu said, "Your basic Tao patterns should exceed 1. Old tree was somewhat surprised. "Old Ji-Yu, could you have seen wrong?" Ji-Yu Hanyu said, "Whether I saw wrong or not, just ask him." Lin Moyu said, "Elder Ji-Yu didn't see wrong. It does exceed 1. Old tree's eyes widened. "Goodness, your basic Tao patterns actually exceed 11. You're going to defy the heavens?" Lin Moyu asked curiously, "As far as this junior knows, isn't 9 Tao patterns the limit?" Old Tree shook his head like a rattle drum. No, 9 is only the limit for ordinary cultivators, not the true limit. Actually, this old man thinks there's no limit to Tao patterns at all. It's just that most people think 9 is the limit, so this saying came about. It's actually a case of false information being spread. Lin Moyu said, I see. Then what's the significance of 11 Tao patterns? Ji Hanyu didn't say more or less, just mentioning 11 directly, which meant there must be something special about one Tao pattern. Old Tree said, 11 Tao patterns are also called the potential of a Tao Lord. This isn't something this old man is saying, but was passed down by a Tao Lord. According to that Tao Lord, to become a Tao Lord, one must have at least 11 basic Tao patterns when becoming a Tao Venerable. Lin Moyu still found it strange. Why set the number at 11? Couldn't someone with 9 Tao patterns or 10 Tao patterns become a Tao Lord? Ji Hanyu said, actually, it's not because of 11 basic Tao patterns, but because of another saying, 100 Tao patterns, great Tao divine ability. It means that when a person has 100 Tao patterns, they can obtain a divine ability from the great Tao. Moreover, the more Tao patterns one has, the closer they are to the great Tao, and the higher the probability of becoming a Tao Lord. However, 100 Tao patterns are too difficult to obtain. Later, someone found another way. When they reached 99 Tao patterns, they used some special treasures and methods to also obtain a great Tao divine ability. When obtaining the great Tao divine ability, they had a sudden enlightenment and became a Tao Lord in one go. This is why there's a saying that 11 basic Tao patterns is the potential of a Tao Lord. Ji Hanyu explained more clearly than Old Tree. Lin Moyu finally understood why there was such a saying. Simply put, the more Tao patterns one has, the closer they are to the great Tao. And the more Tao patterns, the stronger the cultivator's talent naturally is, so the probability of becoming a Tao Lord is naturally higher. All of this is actually complementary. There's no fixed rule. This also doesn't mean that people with only 10 basic Tao patterns can't become Tao Lords. It's just that the difficulty would be extremely great. What is a great Tao divine ability? Lin Moyu's eyes flashed with intense curiosity. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3386. 3386. Chapter 3386. One last shot before leaving. Old Tree said, a great Tao divine ability is the highest secret technique of a great Tao, but it is far stronger than ordinary secret techniques. In short, as long as one can obtain a great Tao divine ability, they are not far from becoming a Tao Lord. Ji Hanyu corrected him, Old Tree's statement is only half correct. Very few can obtain a great Tao divine ability. Those few beings all became Tao Lords. There are also several Tao Lords who did not obtain a great Tao divine ability. Old Tree's eyes widened, how am I only half correct? Those few Tao Lords just haven't displayed their great Tao divine abilities. It doesn't mean they don't have them. Ji Hanyu clearly didn't want to argue with Old Tree. Right, everything you say is correct. Old Tree snorted, you're always opposing me. Do you want to fight right now? Ji Hanyu said softly, if you insist on saying that, it's not impossible. The two were at odds again, neither willing to back down. Lin Moyu had already remembered Old Tree's words, obtaining a great Tao divine ability means one is not far from becoming a Tao Lord. He had 18 basic Tao patterns. By cultivating to 9th level Tao Venerable, his total Tao patterns could reach 162, far exceeding the requirement of 100 patterns. In other words, obtaining a great Tao divine ability was almost certain for him. So his chances of becoming a Tao Lord were also very high. At this moment, Lin Moyu felt that the distance between himself and Tao Lord didn't seem very far. A person who had just reached 5th level Tao Venerable was actually thinking he wasn't far from Tao Lord. If he said this out loud, he would probably be laughed at by all great Tao realm beings. 5th level Tao Venerable was still 100,000 miles away from great Tao realm, let alone Tao Lord. After arguing for a while, the two stopped without actually fighting. Ji Hanyu said, even if one reaches 100 Tao patterns, without reaching great Tao realm and going to the outer great Tao, one still can't obtain a great Tao divine ability. Ji Hanyu was kindly reminding Lin Moyu to cultivate quickly without slacking off. Only great Tao realm qualifies for a great Tao divine ability. This thing above secret techniques had an amazing allure for all cultivators. He believed Lin Moyu would definitely work hard for a great Tao divine ability. But he was wrong on one point. Lin Moyu didn't consider Tao Lord as his goal. Because Question Heaven Tao Monarch had said before that Tao Lords fell in the origin catastrophe. Tao Lords can also die, so Tao Lord wasn't his goal. The Lord of Hell also fell. Lord of Hell wasn't his goal either. Lin Moyu's goal was very distant and grand. He thought again of that old man in the green robe. In Lin Moyu's perception, the green-robed old man was stronger than Tao Lords. Among all the people he knew, the green-robed old man was one of the 4 strongest. These 4 were the green-robed man, his Tao companion, the old man who gave him the ancestral water, and the powerful person who shattered hell. Ji Hanyu said, "It's about time. You should go back now." Old Tree also said loudly, "Young friend Lin, thank you very much this time. If fate allows, we'll welcome you in the outer great Tao in the future." Lin Moyu said, "Are the 2 elders also going back?" Ji Hanyu said, "It's time to go back." Old Tree said, "There are still some things to do before going back. We need to prepare for a while." Lin Moyu nodded, "Then this junior wishes the 2 elders great progress in cultivation after returning to the outer great Tao, advancing 1,000 miles in a day." Old Tree laughed heartily, "Good, good, good. We'll take your kind words." Ji Hanyu said, "Cultivate quickly. We'll meet in the outer great Tao." Lin Moyu bowed slightly and was about to turn and leave when he suddenly thought of something. "Elders, do you know about the ancestral water essence?" Ji Hanyu was slightly startled. "You obtained the ancestral water essence?" Old Tree quickly followed up, "Where did you get the ancestral water essence from?" Lin Moyu said, "An old elder gave it to me. This junior has never known the use of the ancestral water essence. I wonder if the 2 elders know." Lin Moyu had actually asked several people about the ancestral water essence. This included the 3 ancestors, the Beast Emperor, and Question Heaven Tao Monarch. But he didn't get an accurate answer. The great Tao realm beings he asked were all vague and seemed unwilling to speak about it. This time he had helped Ji Hanyu and Old Tree greatly. Perhaps the 2 could tell him some information. Ji Hanyu and Old Tree exchanged a glance. Lin Moyu saw shock in their eyes. Lin Moyu took in their expressions and thought to himself, the same look as the 3 ancestors and Beast Emperor. What shocks them isn't the ancestral water essence, but the person who gave me the ancestral water essence. Ji Hanyu said, "The ancestral water essence is a good thing." Lin Moyu nodded. "Several holy sects of the human race have obtained ancestral water essence, but for countless years, no one has known its true use." Ji Hanyu said, "The ancestral water essence has many uses, different for each person, just like great Tao rewards where everyone's rewards are different. So what kind of effect the ancestral water essence will have depends on you yourself." Lin Moyu pondered for a few breaths, then gritted his teeth inwardly. "An elder once said the ancestral water essence could help me break through to great Tao realm." Ji Hanyu said, "When you advance to great Tao realm, the ancestral water essence indeed has a boosting effect, increasing the success rate by at least 30%. But using it then would be somewhat wasteful. After great Tao realm, the ancestral water essence will have an even greater effect. You cultivate the time great Tao. In the future when you reach great Tao realm, you can seek answers within the time great Tao. In the time great Tao, there's a long river pavilion that records most of the events that have happened on the origin continent from ancient times to now. You'll find what you want there." Old Tree chuckled. "Others who want to go to the long river pavilion have some trouble and need to pay a considerable price. You cultivate the time great Tao, so it will be much easier for you." Ji Hanyu said, "I can only say this much. Remember, if you can avoid using the ancestral water essence, try not to use it. Even when you go to the outer great Tao, don't tell others you have ancestral water essence. This thing is too precious and will attract covetous eyes." Lin Moyu nodded slightly. "Thank you for telling me, elders." This junior takes his leave. Lin Moyu turned and left, disappearing into the white mist in an instant. After Lin Moyu left, Old Tree muttered, "Goodness, young friend Lin actually met that person." Ji Hanyu said, "To be noticed by that person, he is indeed extraordinary. His future achievements will definitely far surpass you and me." Old Tree strongly agreed with Ji Hanyu's words. Naturally. This old man has lived for billions of years but has never seen someone like young friend Lin. Great Tao Essence Fire, 5th level Tao Venerable at 3,000 years old, over 11 basic Tao patterns, predestined for a great Tao divine ability, cultivating 6 great Taos simultaneously, proficient in formations, and possessing ancestral water essence. Any single one of these points would be incredibly shocking if revealed. Just having one of these would make someone a once-in-10,000 years genius. Now Lin Moyu had all of these. As long as he didn't die, his future achievements were already beyond what they could imagine. Outside the 9 Extremes Glacier of the Coldwater Holy Land, it had been half a month since Lin Moyu entered the 9 Extremes Glacier. During this half-month, Ji Yu Kang, Ji Yu Hanbing and others hadn't left. They waited from afar. These ancestor-level figures were all extremely patient. This bit of time meant nothing to them. A single meditation might take several years, and a closed-door cultivation could last hundreds or thousands of years. Ji Yu Hanyu was cultivating 1,000 miles away at the entrance, activating her cold plum bloodline according to Little May's teachings. The whole process went very smoothly. In 10 days, Ji Yu Hanyu's bloodline was activated. At that time, countless cold plum blossoms shot towards the sky, turning into an ice river falling down. The scene was incredibly magnificent. As Ji Yu Hanyu activated her bloodline, her cultivation advanced greatly, almost directly breaking through to 7th level Dao Venerable. Now she was only a hair's breadth away from 7th level Dao Venerable. For the past few days, Ji Yu Hanyu had been watching the 9 Extremes Glacier. Finally, her heart suddenly started beating faster, and she sensed something through the reason branch. Ji Yu Hanyu smiled, like cold plum blossoms in full bloom. He's back. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3387, 3387. Chapter 3387, Are you willing to marry young friend Lin? The reason branch gave Ji Yu Hanyu advance notice, allowing her to sense Lin Moyu's appearance. Little May giggled, her childish face bearing a mature expression. Teacher will certainly return safely. There's no need to worry at all. Ji Yu Hanyu nodded lightly. Indeed, he is very remarkable. Thinking back to when she had hunted Lin Moyu in the past, she could never have imagined things would turn out this way. The person she once wanted to kill was now about to become her husband. She didn't think about whether Lin Moyu could successfully find the ancestor, or whether he could enter the extremely dangerous 9 Extremes Glacier. A voice deep in her soul kept telling her that Lin Moyu would definitely succeed, that there would be no accidents. Little May said softly, after today, I'll have to call you Master's wife. Ji Yu Hanyu quickly shook her head. No, you are the Plum Ancestor. Little May said, the Plum Ancestor has passed away. I am just Little May, teacher's disciple. You are my master's wife. Don't tell others about my identity. This is my new life, no longer related to the Coldwater Holy Land. Ji Yu Hanyu asked, you really don't plan to come back? Little May said, if the Coldwater Holy Land has no troubles, it doesn't need me. If there are troubles and I'm capable, I'll naturally return. Moreover, with teacher around, there's no need for me to act. Ji Yu Hanyu could hear that Little May had a kind of mysterious trust in Lin Moyu. After waiting a bit longer, Lin Moyu's figure finally appeared in their sight. Lin Moyu walked step by step, seemingly slow but actually fast. Each step covered hundreds of meters, like teleportation. In the blink of an eye, he was before them. Ji Yu Hanyu's face blossomed with a smile. You're back. Lin Moyu smiled and said, were you worried about me? Ji Yu Hanyu shook her head, not worried. I knew you'd be fine. Lin Moyu said, you have such confidence in your husband. Fortunately, your husband didn't disappoint you. Ji Yu Hanyu's beautiful eyes glowed slightly. Although she had guessed the result, she still couldn't help showing surprise. You met the ancestor. Lin Moyu said, indeed, I met Elder Ji Yu Hanyu. Hearing the 3 words, Ji Yu Hanyu and Little May knew that Lin Moyu had indeed met him. The ancestor's name was rarely mentioned in the Ji Yu family. They basically all referred to him as ancestor, out of respect. As for outside the Holy Land, no one would know Ji Yu Hanyu's name. This name was too ancient, so ancient that it wasn't recorded in any materials. Lin Moyu being able to say the 3 words, Ji Yu Hanyu, meant he had truly met him. Ji Yu Hanyu asked, how is the ancestor now? Lin Moyu said, Elder Ji Yu is very well. You know that at that realm, the issue of lifespan no longer exists. Ji Yu Hanyu was somewhat puzzled. If the ancestor is fine, why doesn't he come back? Lin Moyu said, before, it was because of some matters that he couldn't leave the 9 Extremes Glacier. Later he might come back once, or he might not come back. The specific situation is a bit complicated. Let's talk as we walk. Ji-yu Hanyu nodded. Let's go. The elders are probably anxious waiting. On the way back, Lin Moyu briefly explained to Ji-yu Hanyu why Ji-yu Hanyu couldn't return. Before, he was trapped in the 9 Extremes Glacier. Now he needs to return to the outer Great Tao. Even if Ji-yu Hanyu wanted to return to the Coldwater Holy Land, he could probably only come for a quick look. Moreover, from his conversation with Ji-yu Hanyu, Lin Moyu could sense that Ji-yu Hanyu didn't have very deep feelings for the Ji-yu family or the Coldwater Holy Land. This was understandable. He had lived for countless years. Although today's Coldwater Holy Land Ji-yu family still recognized him as their ancestor, they were separated by who knows how many generations. Any feelings had long since faded away with the passage of time. As the Holy Lord, Ji-yu Hanyu knew some things about the origin catastrophe. She could also understand Ji-yu Hanyu's thoughts, so she easily accepted Lin Moyu's words. The three left the 9 Extremes Glacier. Ji-yu Hanyu personally closed the formation. Seeing Lin Moyu return unharmed, old Ji-yu Kang's face broke into a smile. Young friend Lin, you really did return safely. Ji-yu Hanbing snorted lightly. Who knows if he really went? Maybe he just went to the first few extremes. Mu Chen shook his head beside them. I believe in young friend Lin's character. He wouldn't do that. Lin Moyu smiled and tossed the bloodline jade tablet to Ji-yu Hanbing. Elder Ji-yu Hanyu's words are all in here. As soon as the bloodline jade tablet entered her hand, Ji-yu Hanbing sensed something unusual. She had made this jade tablet herself. She knew very well how much Ji-yu family bloodline was in the tablet. Now that the tablet was back, the bloodline inside was clearly more than 10 times stronger. Moreover, the purity of the bloodline aura shocked even her, a direct descendant of the Ji-yu family. Old Ji-yu Kang had a similar feeling. He said in a low voice, the bloodline in the jade tablet is very ancient, and also very pure. Ji-yu Hanbing was uncertain and surprised. Could he really have met the ancestor? Impossible. With his realm and cultivation, he couldn't possibly truly enter the 9 Extremes Glacier. The ancestor being in the 9 Extremes Glacier is just a legend. No one has ever really seen him. Could this kid have some special method to tamper with the bloodline in the jade tablet? Despite her doubts, Ji-yu Hanbing still activated the jade tablet. The jade tablet emitted dazzling light, which gathered in the air to form a cold plum blossom. A vast pressure burst out from the cold plum blossom, sweeping across the area. In an instant, countless cold plum blossoms fell within a 100-mile radius, causing a plum blossom rain. Ji-yu Hanyu's projection appeared from within the cold plum blossom. His gaze was cold as he swept his eyes over everyone present. The bloodlines of all Ji-yu family members present simultaneously boiled. Through the blood connection, all Ji-yu family members realized at this moment that they were seeing their ancestor. Appearances can be faked, projections can be tampered with, but this blood connection cannot be falsified. Ji-yu Hanyu's appearance was exactly the same as in the records, especially the cold plum blossom on his brow, which stimulated the bloodline of every Ji-yu family member. Then, the pressure of the Great Tao realm fell from the sky. The pressure was so intense that people could hardly breathe. Without thinking, old Ji-yu Kang immediately knelt on the ground and kowtowed to the projection. Unfilial descendant of the Ji-yu family pays respects to the ancestor. With him taking the lead, countless Ji-yu family elders knelt and kowtowed. Ji-yu Hanbing also knelt down and kowtowed to Ji-yu Hanyu. Ji-yu Hanyu also wanted to kowtow, but Lin Moyu held her, not letting her kneel. Little Mei didn't kneel either. In her previous life she was a Ji-yu family member, but not in this life. She was just Lin Moyu's disciple. If she were to bow, she would bow to Lin Moyu. Among those present, only Lin Moyu, Ji-yu Hanyu, Little Mei, and Mu Chen remained standing. Everyone else was kneeling on the ground. Ji-yu Hanyu calmly accepted their kowtows. After sweeping his gaze around, he finally settled on Ji-yu Hanyu. His authoritative and deep voice slowly sounded, "You are the current Holy Lord, Ji-yu Hanyu." Ji-yu Hanyu slowly bowed. Coldwater Holy Land, 89th generation Holy Lord Ji-yu Hanyu, pays respects to the ancestor. She was about to kneel again. This time Lin Moyu couldn't hold her back, so he could only let her. Ji-yu Hanyu made an sound, not bad talent. The cold plum bloodline is very rich. Good potential. This ancestor asks you, are you willing to marry young friend Lin? Ji-yu Hanyu trembled slightly, but answered without hesitation, Hanyu is willing. Hearing Ji-yu Hanyu's answer, a hint of a smile appeared on Ji-yu Hanyu's cold and stern face. Ji-yu Hanbing's heart jolted. She already knew the ancestor's intention. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3388. 3388. Chapter 3388. Joining the fun. Ji-yu Hanyu's deep voice echoed across the icy land. The rules this ancestor left behind were to maintain blood purity as much as possible, not to completely forbid marrying outsiders. Moreover, even if marrying outsiders, is this ancestor's cold plum bloodline so easily affected? Men and women marrying of their own free will, as long as they don't do anything to harm the Holy Land or the Ji-yu family, there's no need to obstruct. Rules are made by people and can be changed by people. Rules are dead, people are alive. One must know how to be flexible, otherwise how can one prove the great Tao? This time, young friend Lin entered the Nine Extremes Glacier and helped this ancestor greatly. To this ancestor and the entire cold water Holy Land, it's a great kindness. This ancestor approves of Hanyu and young friend Lin's marriage. No further opposition is allowed. As the ancestor of the Ji-yu family, his words were as good as law. No one in the Ji-yu family dared to oppose. Especially as he spoke, their bloodlines boiled non-stop. The Ji-yu family members knew that the ancestor had engraved some words into their bloodlines. All the elders present said in unison, "We obey the ancestor's decree." Ji-yu family descendants, cultivate well. If one day you can prove the great Tao, this ancestor will welcome you all in the outer great Tao. Ji-yu Hanyu waved his large hand, and the cold plum blossoms exploded, turning into streams of cold air that entered the bodies of all Ji-yu family members. Their bloodlines roared and boiled, shaking the surroundings. My bloodline has improved. This old man's bloodline has increased by at least 30%. My cultivation that had stagnated for many years has finally progressed again. One by one, the Ji-yu family elders were overjoyed. Then everyone kowtowed simultaneously, shouting in unison, "Thank you, ancestor." At this moment, they no longer had any doubts about Ji-yu Hanyu's identity. Who else could improve their bloodlines? Besides their own ancestor, no one had such ability. The cold plum blossoms completely dispersed, and the light from the bloodline jade tablet also dimmed. The bit of power Ji-yu Hanyu had left in it was also exhausted. Lin Moyu looked at Ji-yu Hanbing. Does Ice ancestor still want to oppose? Ji-yu Hanbing's mouth twitched twice, and she lowered her voice. The ancestor has spoken. Naturally, the Ji-yu family members must obey the ancestor's orders. Old Ji-yu Kang laughed heartily. The ancestor has spoken. Who would dare oppose now? Young friend Lin, what exactly did you see in the Nine Extremes Glacier? Can you tell us? Lin Moyu was prepared. He took out a jade tablet. Everything that can be said is in here. Some things can't be said, so elders, please don't ask. Old Ji-yu Kang laughed heartily. Good, good, good. We won't ask if we can't. Let this old man take a look quickly. After looking at the contents of the jade tablet, he frowned slightly, to think the ancestor has been in the ninth extreme all along. What a pity, we descendants are incompetent. In countless years, no one has been able to enter the ninth extreme. Fortunately, it was young friend Lin. Otherwise, we wouldn't have known the ancestor was well. Lin Moyu smiled but didn't say anything. Actually, it wasn't that the descendants were incompetent, but that heaven and earth restricted them. The entire origin continent was in a special state where no one could break through to the pseudo-Great Tao realm, so naturally no one could enter the ninth extreme. This restriction had only started to loosen in the past few hundred years. It was believed that before long, the pseudo-Great Tao realm would appear. The jade tablet was passed among the elders, and everyone learned about some of the situations in the Nine Extremes Glacier. They were all somewhat surprised that Lin Moyu could really reach the ninth extreme and see Ji-yu Hanyu. At this time, Ji-yu Hanyu's ears twitched slightly, and she said loudly, "Elders, the matter of recruiting disciples this year has been delayed for over 10 days. We can't keep putting it off. Hanyu needs to go handle it first. Or if the elders think someone else should handle it, Hanyu will hand over the authority." Ji-yu Hanyu was still the Holy Lord now, so the affairs within the Holy Land still needed to be handled by her. Because Lin Moyu had entered the Nine Extremes Glacier, the matter of recruiting disciples had been delayed. Those disciples who had passed the first test had already been staying in the Coldwater Holy Land for over 10 days. There was also Wu Xingguang who had come to propose marriage and had been staying for over 10 days. Now that Lin Moyu had returned, Ji Yu Hanyu had received reports from her subordinates and wanted to continue this matter. There were many things to do in the Holy Land, and some matters required the Holy Lord's decision. Ji Yu Hanbing said, "You're still the Holy Lord now. Even if you're going to get married, there's no rush. Go handle the matters at hand first." Ji Yu Hanyu said, "All right, Hanyu will handle all the affairs well. Ice Ancestor, please don't worry." Ji Yu Hanbing said, "What do I have to worry about? The Ancestor knows your abilities. After you've handled the matters at hand, choose a successor. We'll all be at ease with whoever you choose." Actually, Ji Yu Hanbing trusted Ji Yu Hanyu very much. Otherwise, she wouldn't have done this. Lin Moyu even saw a hint of reluctance in her eyes. It was just because she was too rule-abiding, not because she was targeting Ji Yu Hanyu. Ji Yu Hanyu nodded. "Hanyu understands. Then Hanyu will go do her work first." Old Ji Yu Kang smiled. "Girl Hanyu, before you go, send us old fellows back first. Otherwise, it'll be too troublesome for us to return." As soon as old Ji Yu Kang said this, it immediately drew kind laughter from the other elders. "Yes, send us old fellows back first." The elders were clearly joking with Ji Yu Hanyu, showing that their usual relationship wasn't bad. After all, barring accidents, Ji Yu Hanyu would become an elder like them in the future. They were all Ji Yu family elders, so naturally they had to be polite to each other. In the Ji Yu family, there weren't many power struggles. Ji Yu Hanyu used the origin spirit vein to send these elders back. Finally, only Lin Moyu and Little Mei were left. Ji Yu Hanyu said, "Do you want to come with me?" Lin Moyu said, "If it's convenient, I'll also go see how you recruit disciples. Join in the fun." Little Mei giggled. "Actually, teacher wants to see how that Wu Xingguang proposes marriage." Ji Yu Hanyu said, "Then let's go together." In the great hall of Ji Yu Hanyu's holy land, Ji Yu Hanyu sat on the holy throne. Lin Moyu and Little Mei sat to the lower left of Ji Yu Hanyu. Their status was quite special at the moment. Only the elders knew about his relationship with Ji Yu Hanyu. The other disciples didn't know. After discussing with several elders, Ji Yu Hanyu gave Lin Moyu the status of a guest elder. With this status, Lin Moyu naturally had the right to sit here. Ji Yu Hanyu lightly tapped the armrest, and her dignified, cold voice sounded, "Bring them in." Soon after, 2 Holy Land disciples led 7 young people into the Great Hall. The 7 young people, 3 males and 4 females, were all ordinary people, looking only about 16 or 17 years old. Lin Moyu glanced at them and found that their aptitudes weren't bad. They were all seedlings for cultivation. However, according to the Coldwater Holy Land's requirements, they might not meet the standard. After bringing the people in, the Holy Land disciple bowed to Ji Yu Hanyu, "Greetings to the Holy Lord. The people have been brought." This year, a total of 347 people entered the Cold Ice Ancient Path. Among them, 280 people didn't complete 2/3 of it. Of the remaining 67 people, 60 didn't complete the full course. Only these 7 completed the full course. The detailed information of the 7 is here. This disciple respectfully handed over a jade tablet containing the 7 people's information to Ji Yu Hanyu. Ji Yu Hanyu took the jade tablet and began to check it. It contained various information about the 7 people, including their backgrounds and ages. Little Mei whispered in Lin Moyu's ear, "Master's wife looks so dignified now." Lin Moyu was also admiring Ji Yu Hanyu at this moment. Having held a high position for a long time, Ji Yu Hanyu had an aura that ordinary cultivators couldn't compare to. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3389, 3389. Chapter 3389, just refuse directly. When handling affairs, Ji Yu Hanyu's dignity as Holy Lord was undoubtedly displayed. Lin Moyu admired Ji Yu Hanyu's beauty. This kind of beauty was rare to see and very attractive. The Coldwater Holy Land was very strict in recruiting disciples, but their process wasn't actually complicated at all. The Cold Ice Ancient Path that opened each year was the first step. Actually, anyone who could successfully complete 2/3 of it had a chance to join the Coldwater Holy Land. Those who couldn't even complete 2/3, or were afraid of freezing to death after only walking half, were eliminated early on. This step tested one's determination. If one's determination wasn't even this firm, then they didn't qualify to join the Cold Water Holy Land. Those who could complete 2/3 were considered to have passed. Even if they couldn't join the Cold Water Holy Land, the Holy Land would arrange for them to join various small sects within their sphere of influence as disciples, setting them on the path of cultivation. These people weren't completely without chance. As long as their future performance was impressive enough, they would still have a chance to rejoin the Cold Water Holy Land. This had always been the Cold Water Holy Land's practice, but these people were required to make an oath not to reveal this matter. The outside world didn't know at all that as long as one completed 2/3, they might have a chance to change their fate. So many people gave up and turned back before even completing half. Their determination wasn't firm enough. They were destined to be ordinary people, living less than 100 years, and destined to never experience a broader world. As for those who completed the full course, they had already proven their determination. At worst, they could be sent to various small sects to become elite disciples. The second test of the Cold Water Holy Land examined their perception of power. Formations were set up in the Great Hall. They would enter the formations to sense different types of power, thus determining which kind of cultivation technique they were more suited for. At the same time, the formations could further judge their talent strength. After this, the third test examined their minds. This test was divided into 2 steps. First was the Great Tao Oath, swearing to never betray the Cold Water Holy Land and never do anything harmful to it. Second was using formations to create illusions, once again verifying if their hearts were strong enough. These 3 tests determined the future paths of these 7 people. In Lin Moyu's view, although it wasn't perfect, it was already sufficient. Cultivation was a long road. There was no need to rush too much. Many things needed to be tested by time. The entire test lasted nearly half a day before ending. Ji Hanyu decided where the 7 people would go. 5 of them were sent to the outer sect of the Cold Water Holy Land, starting as menial workers. The other 2 performed better. Although they also entered the outer sect, they directly became outer sect disciples and didn't need to do menial work. According to the Cold Water Holy Land, they only recruited 2 disciples this year. The other 5 were still menial workers and didn't count as disciples. After the 7 were taken away, Lin Moyu smiled and asked, "Actually, small matters like recruiting disciples can be left to others. You, as the Holy Lord, don't need to personally handle it, right?" Ji Hanyu said, "I'm used to it. I'm not at ease unless I oversee some things myself." Lin Moyu said, "But that way you'll be very tired." Ji Hanyu said, "It's fine. It just takes up some cultivation time, but nothing else." In the years Ji Hanyu had led the Cold Water Holy Land, all affairs of the Holy Land were in good order, better than under the previous Holy Lord. That's why the elders trusted Ji Hanyu so much, letting her decide her successor herself without interfering. Little May said, "In the past, there were several Holy Lords who only focused on their own cultivation and left the Holy Land's affairs to others to manage. Later, the Holy Land's affairs became a mess, and even several power factions emerged. The Holy Land almost split apart." Ji Hanyu said, "Plum Ancestor is right. Later, it was the elders who intervened and suppressed the situation, stabilizing the Holy Land. But the Holy Land's vitality was damaged and took many years to recover. So as Holy Lord, one still needs to manage more. This way, the Holy Land can remain stable." Lin Moyu asked, "Why not consider using a technological treasure to manage? Like Luolian in the mall?" Ji Hanyu said, "I want to, but such technological treasures that can serve as managers aren't easy to obtain. Looking at the entire origin continent, besides the mall, where else would have them?" Lin Moyu was stunned for a moment. "You mean, only the mall has such treasures?" Ji Hanyu suddenly smiled, "So there are things you don't know too." Lin Moyu smiled, "Don't joke. How many years have I been cultivating? How could I know more than you?" Ji Hanyu made an "oh" sound. "Are you saying I'm old?" Lin Moyu's smile didn't change. "I believe in Hanyu's broad-mindedness. She certainly wouldn't think that way. I didn't expect such technological treasures to be so rare." Ji Hanyu made an sound. Technological treasures were originally rare. Naturally, such technological treasures that can manage affairs are even rarer. I once asked the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce. There are some technological treasures that can assist, but they're far from reaching Luolian's level. There aren't even any that reach half of it. Lin Moyu vaguely sensed something was off. If such treasures were so rare, how did Xiao Zontian happen to obtain one back then? Was it really just luck? Lin Moyu believed in luck, but never completely believed in luck. Vaguely, he sensed a conspiracy, as if a pair of big hands were laying out a plan. Whether himself or Xiao Zontian, they all seemed to be pieces in this game. Ji Yuhanyu noticed the change in Lin Moyu's expression. What did you think of? Lin Moyu said, I thought of some things. Something feels off. Let me think it through before I tell you properly. Ji Yuhanyu nodded. Then you think first. Tell me when you've figured it out. At this time, a disciple walked into the great hall. Ji Yu Nianshui came to the hall and was about to bow to Ji Yuhanyu when she suddenly froze, staring at Lin Moyu without blinking. Lin Moyu also saw Ji Yu Nianshui and couldn't help but smile. What a coincidence. Long time no see. Ji Yu Nianshui instinctively asked, why are you here? Ji Yuhanyu knew they knew each other, but she still introduced, Lin Moyu is now a guest elder. Nianshui, what brings you here? Ji Yu Nianshui immediately reacted, unable to hide her inner awkwardness, but on the surface she still bowed. Ji Yu Nianshui greets the Holy Lord, greets Elder Lin. The young master of the Wu family has been asking when the Holy Lord plans to see him. Ji Yuhanyu said, right now then. Call him over. Ji Yu Nianshui nodded, all right, I'll have someone bring him here immediately. Lin Moyu smiled, does Hanyu know who Wu Xingguang wants to propose to? Ji Yuhanyu shook her head, the visiting card I received only said he came on behalf of the Wu family to propose, but didn't say to whom. Lin Moyu said, according to the information I received, the person he wants to propose to is Hanyu's sister, Ji Yu Hanjing. Ji Yu Hanyu's brows suddenly furrowed, Hanjing. That's impossible. Ji Yu Hanyu was somewhat agitated. Lin Moyu found it strange. How could the usually calm Ji Yu Hanyu suddenly become so agitated? There must be something behind this. Lin Moyu said, if you don't agree, just refuse directly. Ji Yu Hanyu said, I can refuse now, but I'm a bit worried. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3390, 3390. Chapter 3390, Wu Xingguang's marriage proposal. Lin Moyu could see that Ji Yu Hanyu seemed to have some difficulties she couldn't speak of. He said softly, if there's any problem, tell your husband. Perhaps I can help solve it. Ji Yu Hanyu said, Jinger is my younger sister. Her cultivation talent is very high, no worse than mine. When she entered the Tao Venerable realm, she went to the soul void out of curiosity. After that, there were some problems with her soul. Lin Moyu asked, was her soul damaged? Ji Yu Hanyu shook her head, it's not that her soul was damaged. We've checked, and her soul is still intact. But sometimes, she forgets everything, as if she's become a different person. Sometimes she becomes foolish, like a child. When she's normal, she cultivates. But once she stops cultivating, she becomes different, and not just in one way. Her cultivation talent isn't affected at all. Her cultivation speed is still very fast. She's already at 3rd level Tao Venerable now. As her cultivation deepens, her condition seems to be getting worse. Her cultivation time is getting shorter and shorter, and she's foolish more and more often. Just a few days ago, Jinger developed another problem. She suddenly attacks people around her, and her consciousness is no longer clear. Now that I'm still the Holy Lord, I can naturally refuse Wu Xingguang. But what about in the future? Once I'm no longer the Holy Lord, and someone else comes to propose, what then? Now it's Wu Xingguang, but in the future, there might be others. The elders have already given up on Jinger. Perhaps in some elders' eyes, Jinger has already become a tool. Lin Moyu asked, what about your parents? Ji Yu Hanyu sighed, her eyes showing a hint of sadness. Over 20,000 years ago, we had a conflict with the Question Dao sect. At that time, both sides paid a considerable price. Lin Moyu knew the result without being told. Ji Yu Hanyu's parents must have passed away in that conflict. With both parents gone, Ji Yu Hanyu and her sister grew up together. The feelings between the two sisters naturally didn't need to be said. If Ji Yu Hanyu were to marry Lin Moyu, the one she would worry about most would be Ji Yu Hanjing. Lin Moyu said, then we can take Ji Yu Hanjing with us when we leave. Ji Yu Hanyu shook her head, that won't work. I've tried taking Jinger outside to seek treatment, but as soon as we leave the Holy Land, Jinger becomes crazy and attacks people around her. Listening to Ji Yu Hanyu's description, Lin Moyu had a rough guess in his heart. Ji Yu Hanjing's problem occurred in the soul void, so it must be related to her soul. As for exactly what happened, only seeing it would tell. Ji Yu Hanjing's inability to leave the cold water Holy Land might be related to the Ice Great Tao in the Holy Land. In the cold water Holy Land, the power of the origin spirit vein and Ice Great Tao permeated everywhere. Perhaps these two powers could suppress Ji Yu Hanjing's soul problem. Lin Moyu asked curiously, according to what you say, she can't marry either, right? Ji Yu Hanyu shook her head, that's not the case. She can marry. We have a secret technique. She seemed reluctant to continue, hesitating. At this point, Little May said softly, there's a secret technique in the Holy Land called the Ice Soul Secret Technique. Using the Ice Soul Secret Technique can balance yin and yang between husband and wife. Whether for cultivation or healing injuries, its effect is excellent. I guess Master's wife is struggling with this. She wants to cure Jinger, but doesn't want Jinger to marry because of it. Ji Yu Hanyu sighed. At present, the Ice Soul Secret Technique seems to be Jinger's last hope, but I'm afraid she'll blame me after she recovers. Jinger once told me that in this life, she definitely wants to find someone she truly loves, not just anyone right now. But in the eyes of several elders, Jinger has already lost her value. If she marries out and can recover, that would naturally be best, as she's still a member of the Holy Land. If she can't recover, at least they can reclaim most of the resources. After all, the resources spent to cultivate a Dao Venerable are not small. Ji Yu Hanyu said this, then looked up at Lin Moyu, does it feel very cruel? Lin Moyu shook his head, not at all. The rule of this world is survival of the fittest. And in my view, this kind of marriage is more like a transaction, which is actually fair. Ji Yu Hanyu said, so I've been struggling. A few years ago, some elders had already suggested marrying Jinger off. Jinger is now in the Holy Land, normal when cultivating, but either foolish or crazy when not cultivating. Sometimes she attacks people randomly. They're also afraid she'll cause more trouble. Lin Moyu thought for a moment and said, how about this, let me examine her. Perhaps I'll have a way. Ji Yu Hanyu's face lit up with joy, really? Lin Moyu said, I can only say, we can try. Little May smiled, teacher will definitely have a way. Shadows appeared outside the hall. Ji Yu Nianshui led Wu Xingguang and two Wu family elder ancestors into the hall. When Wu Xingguang saw Ji Yu Hanyu, his eyes suddenly lit up, showing a hint of greed, but he quickly returned to normal. Wu Xingguang glanced at Lin Moyu, clearly surprised to see Lin Moyu sitting in the position below Ji Yu Hanyu. He bowed to Ji Yu Hanyu, Wu family young master Wu Xingguang greets Jade Holy Lord. Wu Xingguang's expression was well hidden, but it couldn't escape the eyes of Lin Moyu and Ji Yu Hanyu. Ji Yu Hanyu said, young master Xingguang needn't be so formal. I received your visiting card earlier, saying you wanted to come propose marriage. May I ask for whom in the Wu family are you proposing, and who is the intended? Wu Xingguang said, Xingguang is proposing for himself. The intended is none other than Jade Holy Lord's sister, Fairy Jing. Ji Yu Hanyu's brows furrowed slightly, young master Xingguang should choose someone else. Jinger is not suitable for marriage now. Wu Xingguang couldn't help but ask, how is she not suitable? Ji Yu Hanyu snorted lightly, does this Holy Lord need to explain to young master Xingguang? At this point, Wu Xingguang took out a token. The token was engraved with the mark of the Cold Water Holy Land, with an ice character on the back. This was Ji Yu Hanbing's token, similar to the one Lin Moyu had received from Ji Yu Kang. Ji Yu Hanyu's brows furrowed even more. She had a bad feeling. Wu Xingguang said, this is the token given by your ice ancestor. With this token, I can make a request to your Holy Land, any request, isn't that right? Ji Yu Hanyu lightly raised her hand, and the token automatically flew into her hand. Wu Xingguang wasn't afraid that Ji Yu Hanyu wouldn't honor it. The token was given to the Wu family by Ji Yu Hanbing. Unless Ji Yu Hanyu wanted to fall out with the Wu family completely. After checking the token and confirming it was genuine, Ji Yu Hanyu threw it back to Wu Xingguang and said, the token is indeed from Ice Ancestor. But young Master Xingguang should also know the rules of our Holy Land. You can propose marriage, but Jinger herself must be willing. Now this Holy Lord tells you on Jinger's behalf, this marriage is not possible. Choose someone else. Perhaps this Holy Lord can even help persuade them. Wu Xingguang's expression didn't change. He smiled lightly. If Fairy Jing herself is unwilling, this young master naturally can't force it. But this young master wants to hear Fairy Jing say it herself. As long as Fairy Jing refuses in person, this young master will leave without another word. Ji Yu Hanyu suddenly realized that Wu Xingguang must know about Ji Yu Hanjing's condition to say this. She was at a loss for a moment. Faced with Ice Ancestor's token, even as the Holy Lord, she had to follow the rules. At this point, Lin Moyu's voice slowly sounded, so you're saying that your request using Ice Ancestor's token now is to have Ji Yu Hanjing refuse you in person. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3391, 3391. Chapter 3391, Going to see the sister-in-law. Lin Moyu's sudden interruption displeased Wu Xingguang. With the Ice Ancestor's token, he indeed made it difficult for Ji Yu Hanyu to refuse easily, and he clearly sensed Ji Yu Hanyu's dilemma. Combined with the information he possessed, he knew Ji Yu Hanjing couldn't possibly come to refuse him in person. This gave him an illusion of controlling the situation, especially facing someone like Ji Yu Hanyu, the leader of a holy land, which gave Wu Xingguang an extremely strong sense of achievement. But just as he was about to further boost his sense of achievement, Lin Moyu interrupted his feeling, making him very unhappy. However, in front of Ji Yu Hanyu, Wu Xingguang still maintained the proper demeanor of a young master of the Wu family. He looked at Lin Moyu. Friend Lin, this is our third meeting, right? Xingguang still doesn't know friend Lin's status. Ji Yu Hanyu said, Lin Moyu is a guest elder of our cold water holy land. Wu Xingguang smiled slightly, so it's Elder Lin. I've been disrespectful. May I ask what Elder Lin meant by his words just now? Lin Moyu smiled and said, aren't you here to propose marriage? But you were refused by Hanyu, then you took out the Ice Ancestor's token, saying you must have Fairy Jing refuse you in person. Doesn't that mean your request is made using the Ice Ancestor's token? If Fairy Jing refuses you in person, shouldn't we take back your Ice Ancestor's token? Wu Xingguang thought for a moment, and it did seem to be that way. But something felt off. The Ice Ancestor's token shouldn't be used like this. This token could make the cold water holy land do one thing. How could it only be exchanged for a refusal? But if he didn't use the token, Ji Yu Hanyu would directly refuse, and he wouldn't even have a chance. Originally, he just wanted to use the token to put Ji Yu Hanyu in a difficult position, then take advantage of the situation. He didn't expect. Seeing Wu Xingguang's silence, Lin Moyu continued, Friend Xingguang, is it or isn't it? Give a clear answer. As the young master of the Wu family, you should be more decisive. Being hesitant will make people laugh. Provoked by Lin Moyu, Wu Xingguang's eyes changed noticeably, and his heart was in turmoil. This isn't right. According to the information I have, Ji Yu Hanjing can't answer my question. Being unable to answer also means being unable to refuse in person. Could the information I got be wrong? Or is this guy bluffing me? Just as Wu Xingguang was about to speak, his ears twitched slightly. The 7th level elder behind him transmitted, this token is worth far more than this. Don't agree rashly. Think about the cold water holy land's rules. Use your brain. Wu Xingguang was slightly startled, suddenly becoming clear-headed. He wasn't a fool. If he were a fool, he couldn't have cultivated to this level. At most, he could only be considered somewhat impulsive and narrow-minded. Thinking for a moment, he immediately found a breakthrough. Wu Xingguang smiled and said, Friend Lin doesn't have the surname Ji Yu. If I remember correctly, outside elders of the Cold Water Holy Land can't interfere in the internal affairs of the Ji Yu family of the Cold Water Holy Land, right? Actually, my proposal this time, strictly speaking, is a matter between my Wu family and the Ji Yu family. You, an outside elder, are trying to manage it. Lin Moyu smiled lightly. Friend Xingguang may not know, besides being an outside elder, I have another identity. Wu Xingguang said, what other identity could there be? At this time, Ji Yu Hanyu's cold voice sounded, Elder Lin is also this holy lord's husband. What? Wu Xingguang was thunderstruck, frozen in place, even his expression frozen. Not just him, but the 2 7th level elders behind him also showed looks of disbelief. Let alone them, even Ji Yu Nianshui beside them was dumbfounded. In her view, this kind of thing was even more like a fantasy. Lin Moyu smiled and said, Fairy Jing is my sister-in-law. Do you think I can manage this matter? After several seconds, Wu Xingguang finally reacted, impossible, this is absolutely impossible. Jade Holy Lord is the Holy Lord of the Coldwater Holy Land. The Coldwater Holy Land's rules say the Holy Lord can't marry. Ji Yu Hanyu's voice was icy, whether the Holy Lord can marry or not is an internal matter of our Coldwater Holy Land. There's no need to explain to you. Lin Moyu said, Friend Wu, rather than worrying about the Coldwater Holy Land's rules, you should continue talking about your marriage proposal. You haven't answered the previous question yet. With the Ice Ancestors token, what exactly is your request? If you have a request, just say it. If it can be done, Hanyu definitely won't refuse. If it can't be done, sorry, even if the Ice Ancestor personally intervenes, what can't be done still can't be done. Our Coldwater Holy Land is very reasonable. We never do despicable things like forcing disciples to marry, let alone make some despicable requests. Lin Moyu was smiling at this moment. His smile, in Wu Xingguang's eyes, was naked mockery, as if saying, what you're doing is really despicable, not presentable. At this time, a flame of jealousy was burning in Wu Xingguang's heart. Lin Moyu could actually marry Ji Yu Hanyu. What qualifications did he have? While he could only propose to Ji Yu Hanjing, and others weren't even willing to agree. Naturally, marrying Ji Yu Hanjing was far inferior to marrying Ji Yu Hanyu. Wu Xingguang knew clearly which was better. Under Lin Moyu's smile, Wu Xingguang felt he was being pushed into a corner. He now only had two choices. One was to continue using the token to make his previous request, insisting on having Ji Yu Hanjing refuse him in person. The second was to take the token and slink away, pretending this never happened. But if he did that, he would completely lose face. When he returned to his family, he could imagine what kind of attitude those old fellows would give him. The Wu family wasn't like the Coldwater Holy Land. Internal competition was fierce. He could easily become a discarded piece. In the Wu family, a Dao Venerable without potential didn't count for much. Moreover, after this matter spread, it would be even more difficult for him to propose to other forces. So actually, he only had one choice, to gamble that Ji Yu Hanjing couldn't refuse him in person. But what if he gambled wrong? What's wrong? Friend Xingguang still can't make a decision. Why don't you go back and think about it, then come back when you've decided? Lin Moyu's tone was very sincere, with the appearance of a nice guy. But in Wu Xingguang's eyes, it was full of mockery and playfulness. Wu Xingguang's head suddenly heated up, all hesitation disappearing in an instant. He gritted his teeth and said, That's right, I just want Fairy Jing to say it in person. This is my request. Lin Moyu glanced at Ji Yu Hanyu. Ji Yu Hanyu gave Lin Moyu a look, indicating that he should make all the decisions. Lin Moyu smiled and said, If that's the case, then you go back and rest first. Fairy Jing is in closed cultivation. We'll go call her out of seclusion. This reason was very appropriate and reasonable, without any flaws. Wu Xingguang asked in a deep voice, How many days do I have to wait? Lin Moyu said, That's hard to say. It depends on what stage Fairy Jing's cultivation has reached. If she's just about to break through, it might take a bit longer. Wu Xingguang said coldly, So you're saying I might have to wait decades or centuries? Lin Moyu said, It won't be that long. Although we can't tell you an exact time, it shouldn't be too long. Since you've come to propose marriage, surely you have at least this much patience. Wu Xingguang snorted, I hope it won't be too long. Wu Xingguang left angrily. Things had come to this point, and he could only wait. There was no way he could fall out with Ji Yu Hanyu here. That would be suicide. After they left, Ji Yu Hanyu's face was full of worry. Lin Moyu smiled and said, Don't worry, let's go see your sister first. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Thanks to NotFanta for the donation. Also I created an auxiliary chapter for anyone that wants old chapters retranslated. I will not do all of them. Asterisk 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 asterisk. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3392, 3392. Chapter 3392, others may not have a way, but that doesn't mean I don't. Ji-Yu Hanyu used the teleportation ability of the origin spirit vein to directly transport herself and Lin Moyu to the outside of a quiet small courtyard. Above the courtyard, a formation was operating, with powerful forces falling from the formation to seal and suppress the courtyard. Ji-Yu Hanyu said, Jinger is inside. In recent years, her condition has been getting worse and worse. Her cultivation time is getting shorter and shorter, while the time she spends in a foolish state is getting longer and longer. Sometimes she even attacks people around her, so I had to use a formation to confine her inside. In her words, Ji-Yu Hanyu revealed a hint of helplessness. Ji-Yu Hanjing was her younger sister, and the two sisters had a very good relationship. If there was any other way, she wouldn't do this. Ji-Yu Hanjing was a Tao Venerable. Once she acted, the power of a Tao Venerable would erupt, and those disciples below Tao Venerable would inevitably suffer casualties. If such a thing happened, that would be the real trouble, so she could only use a formation to confine her. Lin Moyu didn't rush to go in, but instead looked at Little May. Little May, do you have anything to add about the Ice Soul secret technique? Little May stuck out her tongue, looking very cute. I hadn't finished speaking earlier. Besides potentially helping Ji-Yu Hanjing return to normal, the Ice Soul secret technique also brings great benefits to the opposite sex cultivating together. Simply put, a part of the power will become the co-cultivators. One's own power will decrease, while the co-cultivators' power will increase. This is also the drawback of the Ice Soul secret technique. Lin Moyu asked, how much would it decrease? Little May said, about 2/3. For a third-level Tao Venerable, with good luck they might still maintain Tao Venerable realm, with bad luck they might drop to True God realm. Lin Moyu roughly understood why Wu Xingguang wanted to propose to Ji-Yu Hanjing. The goal was Ji-Yu Hanjing's Ice Soul secret technique. To put it bluntly, the Ice Soul secret technique was a kind of dual cultivation technique, but this dual cultivation technique benefited the other party more. It wasn't the kind of yin-yang dual cultivation technique that improved both parties together, but more like a technique that made close for others. Ji-Yu Hanyu said, I think the Wu family must know about Jinger's condition, which is why they came to propose so fearlessly. Lin Moyu pondered for a moment and said, perhaps there's even more to it. If it was just this level of cultivation, the value would be far less than an Ice Ancestor token. He came with the Ice Ancestor token, so he must be aiming for something bigger. Ji-Yu Hanyu asked curiously, what else could he be after? Lin Moyu shook his head, I don't know yet. Actually, it's very simple to find out. I'll go kill them, then we'll know. Ji-Yu Hanyu's voice turned cold, even if we're going to kill them, it's not now. We have to wait until they leave the Coldwater Holy Land's territory before we can act. Lin Moyu couldn't help but laugh, looks like Hanyu had already thought it through. Ji-Yu Hanyu nodded, of course. Does he not know who he is? Using the Ice Ancestor token to threaten me, he's asking for death. Having led the Coldwater Holy Land for so many years, Ji-Yu Hanyu was known for her decisiveness in killing. This was well known throughout the entire Coldwater Holy Land. Even if she ultimately agreed to Wu Xingguang's proposal, Wu Xingguang wouldn't be able to return safely to the Wu family. His life would certainly be lost on the way. Even with 2 7th-level elders protecting him, it wouldn't be of any use. It would just mean a few more deaths. Lin Moyu said, open the formation. I'll go see your sister. If I can treat her, I'll do my best. If I really can't treat her, I'll go kill those guys and take back the Ice Ancestor token. Don't worry, if I really do this, I guarantee the Wu family won't find any evidence. It won't cause trouble for the Coldwater Holy Land. Ji-Yu Hanyu nodded and then opened the formation. The small courtyard enveloped by the formation appeared extremely quiet, without a single extraneous sound. There were trees in the courtyard, a special kind that could grow in cold environments. The leaves of these trees were silver, covering the entire courtyard, indicating that no one had come to the courtyard for a long time. Ji Hanyu was too busy. When she had time, she would come to take a look, but that was all. Over the years, she had looked countless times, and each time it hurt her heart. Among the fallen leaves in the courtyard, a woman in blue clothes was sitting quietly, cultivating. Ji Hanjing's appearance was 7 parts similar to Ji Hanyu's, but her face was softer and quieter. In terms of appearance, both had their own merits. Ji Hanyu said, "Jinger is cultivating. She won't wake up until she finishes cultivating." Lin Moyu had already seen that Ji Hanjing's current state was very unusual. Looking with ordinary eyes, she was indeed cultivating. Whether it was the fluctuations in her aura or her outward state, it was no different from cultivation. But in Lin Moyu's eyes, she wasn't cultivating, but fighting. The undead eye had already opened, and Lin Moyu saw Ji Hanjing's soul flame. The soul flame was flickering violently. Normally, when people are cultivating, their soul flame wouldn't move so violently. Only when soul power is fully mobilized would the soul flame jump so intensely. Ji Hanjing was like this now, her soul flame burning and jumping frantically, meaning she was intensely mobilizing her soul. But there was no overflow of soul power fluctuations from her body, as if some force had sealed her aura. Lin Moyu said, "There's indeed a problem." Ji Hanyu's eyes changed slightly. "What did you see?" Lin Moyu said, "It's indeed a soul problem, but not ordinary soul damage. I need to look further for specifics. Actually, the most direct method would be to enter Ji Hanjing's soul world to take a look." But in Ji Hanjing's current state, she couldn't actively open a soul channel, so they could only force their way in. Forcing their way in would very likely cause damage to Ji Hanjing's soul world. Just as Lin Moyu was considering whether to force his way in, Ji Hanyu said, "We've tried to force our way into Jinger's soul world, but we didn't succeed." Lin Moyu asked curiously, "But why couldn't you get in?" Ji Hanjing was only at 3rd level Dao Venerable. With Ji Hanyu's cultivation, she shouldn't have been unable to force her way in. Ji Hanyu said, "Not only could I not get in, even Ice Ancestor couldn't get in. We tried various methods, all failed." Lin Moyu said, "Let me try." As he spoke, his soul power extended out, touching Ji Hanjing's brow. The soul power probed in, following Ji Hanjing's own power to find the location of her soul world. This method was very direct and effective. Many soul attacks use this method. Soon, Lin Moyu found Ji Hanjing's soul world. But when he was about to force his way in, a formless but powerful force suddenly sprang out from Ji Hanjing's soul world, directly repelling Lin Moyu's soul power. This force was very strong, and it had fused with Ji Hanjing's own power. To defeat this force, one would need to strengthen their own soul power, which would inevitably cause damage to Ji Hanjing's soul world. This was why Ji Hanyu and Ice Ancestor had to give up in the end. They wanted to help treat Ji Hanjing's injury, not kill her. Lin Moyu said, "Indeed, we can't get in." Ji Hanyu said, "We all know Jinger has a soul problem, but we can't get in, so we can't find the source of the problem. We've thought of various methods, but the results weren't ideal. Jinger's condition is getting worse and worse." Lin Moyu comforted her, "Don't worry. Others may not have a way, but that doesn't mean I don't have a way. I'll set up a formation first, then take another look. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3393, 3393. Chapter 3393, Sister-in-Law's Soul World. Lin Moyu quickly set up a sealing formation. This sealing formation was only 7th grade, and it was just a simple talisman formation. He didn't need to set up too powerful a sealing formation, after all Ji Hanjing was only at 3rd level Dao Venerable. A 7th grade talisman formation was already enough. Lin Moyu's smooth and flowing formation setting technique made Ji Hanyu marvel. Although Ji Hanyu knew Lin Moyu was skilled in formations, this kind of formation setting technique still made her marvel every time she saw it. It was like a beautiful song or dance, you can't help but want to listen or watch it again and again. The sealing formation enveloped Ji Hanjing, who showed no signs of waking up. This further confirmed Lin Moyu's belief that Ji Hanjing was not actually cultivating at this moment. Ji Hanyu asked, "What do you plan to do?" Lin Moyu said, "Go take a look at Sister-in-Law's soul world. Ji Hanyu was even more confused, but you can't get in, how will you look? Lin Moyu said, I'll look from the soul void. As he finished speaking, under Ji Hanyu's shocked gaze, Lin Moyu's consciousness sank into his soul world. He had already completed the great Dao lock on Ji Hanjing. The two weren't far apart, so logically their soul worlds shouldn't be too far apart either. However, his soul world had changed its projected position after this period of migration, so exactly how far it was, he would only know after trying. If it was close enough, he would go directly with his soul. If it was really too far, then he would move his entire soul world towards Ji Hanjing's location, which would take a bit more time. Lin Moyu wasn't in a hurry. This wasn't like facing the Black Blood Fist Saint in the Nine Extremes Glacier. His great Dao enemy lock wouldn't be worn away here and could exist for a long time. In the dim soul void, Lin Moyu's soul world was also dark. The outside of the soul world had already been wrapped by the world tree's branches, so no aura would leak out from inside the soul world. The dragon soul crystal had transformed into a divine dragon and was working with the world tree to push the soul world and change its position. Lin Moyu silently left his soul world. Outside the soul world, he carefully sensed Ji Hanjing's location. In the soul void, the power of the great Dao was almost non-existent. Once the distance was far, there would be no sense of it at all. Fortunately, the distance isn't too far. Lin Moyu could vaguely sense the direction. The distance shouldn't be very far. He had the dragon soul crystal stop, temporarily halting the movement of his soul world. You go back first. You can eat the two soul crystals. Receiving Lin Moyu's instructions, the dragon soul crystal excitedly returned to the soul world to enjoy its meal. Of the two soul crystals, one came from the Black Blood Fist Saint. Although it was from a half-crippled Black Blood Fist Saint, the quality of the soul crystal was still not low. The other was from that giant python, which was much inferior, but it was still a soul crystal. The dragon soul crystal indicated it wasn't picky about food. Lin Moyu followed the vague direction and entered the soul void again. The soul void had no coordinates and no sense of direction. One could only walk by feeling. Before setting out, Lin Moyu as usual left a rune on his soul world, using it for double coordinate locking to reduce the possibility of getting lost. Then he also brought out the Calamity Scepter. In case he encountered enemies, the Calamity Scepter would be his ultimate trump card. After flying in the soul void for a while, he finally saw a soul world not far away. This soul world appeared suddenly. It couldn't be seen at all before, and only when reaching a certain distance would one know that there was a soul world here. This was one of the rules of the soul void, only when you get close can you know whether there is a soul world here or not. This rule applied to everyone, with no exceptions. After entering the soul void several times, the soul void gave Lin Moyu the feeling of being like the starry sky in the greater world, with each soul world like a planet. But in the greater world there were fixed stars, and planets would reflect the light of fixed stars to make themselves conspicuous. In the soul void, there were no fixed stars, so soul worlds became extremely hidden. Lin Moyu continued to approach, gradually seeing Ji Hanjing's soul world clearly. As expected, there's a problem with the soul world. Outside Ji Hanjing's soul world, countless worm-like beings appeared. These beings were soul bodies unique to the soul void. They had souls but no flesh and blood. The large worms surrounded Ji Hanjing's soul world, as if parasitizing on it, causing the entire soul world to change. Moreover, Lin Moyu discovered that these worms seemed to have fused with Ji Hanjing's soul world. If he wanted to attack these soul worms, it would be equivalent to attacking Ji Hanjing's soul world. And the worms weren't just attached to the outside of the soul world, there were also large numbers inside the soul world. These soul worms give me a sense of familiarity, as if I've seen them somewhere before. Lin Moyu thought for a moment and remembered that he had seen similar soul worms in the Ice Fire Secret Realm. The two weren't exactly the same, but they had similarities. They were very likely to be from the same race. It was like the insect race, there were actually dozens of types within it. Their appearances and abilities were all different, but they all belonged to the insect race. Lin Moyu didn't take action immediately. He observed carefully while thinking about how to deal with these worms. If possible, naturally he couldn't harm Ji Hanjing. If there really was no other way, the most important thing was still to clear out these worms, even if it meant some damage to the soul. As long as the worms were cleared out completely, and Ji Hanjing could keep a breath of life, then she could be saved with the spirit flower. After looking for a while, Lin Moyu couldn't think of a perfect solution. Let's try first. He flew over, approaching Ji Hanjing's soul world. The worms attached to the soul world discovered Lin Moyu and simultaneously raised their heads to look at him. At this moment, the soul void became lively. Wings grew from the backs of these worms, and the sound of souls buzzed. The next second, a large number of soul worms rushed towards Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu flicked his finger, and fire exploded. The world-burning fire burned fiercely, illuminating a patch of the void. The world-burning fire turned into a sea of fire, instantly engulfing all the worms. Although the worms were numerous, individual worms weren't strong. They were almost burned to ash the instant they entered the sea of fire. A large amount of powder appeared in the void. This powder was the soul crystals refined from the worms. The soul crystals were very small and numerous, not powerful. Just like these worms, they weren't actually very strong individually. In terms of realm, they were about at the level of first or second level Tao Venerable. The key was in their numbers, which transformed quantity into quality. If Ji Hanjing could cultivate to 4th level Tao Venerable, then her soul would improve greatly. At that time, no matter how many worms there were or how much they transformed in quality, they wouldn't be a threat to her. Lin Moyu gradually began to understand why Ji Hanjing was seizing every moment to cultivate. Because she was trying to save herself. She also knew clearly that only by cultivating to 4th level Tao Venerable could she escape this predicament and regain her vitality. She's really a strong person, no less than Hanyu. The two sisters Ji Hanyu and Ji Hanjing had similar qualities. They wouldn't easily admit defeat, especially in desperate situations. They would think of every way to save themselves, and were equally decisive. It was because of this that Ji Hanyu had used the reason branch back then. Unfortunately, she ended up getting herself involved. Lin Moyu muttered to himself, being so strong, if she can get through this crisis, her cultivation will likely increase greatly. At that time, forget about 4th level Tao Venerable, even 5th level might be possible. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3394, 3394. Chapter 3394, I am your brother-in-law. Lin Moyu descended like a god of fire, cloaked in the world-burning fire. At this time, Ji Hanjing's soul world was not only wrapped by these worms, but many small holes had appeared on its surface. Her soul world was like a balloon riddled with holes. Through these holes, Lin Moyu could see the situation inside the soul world. Ji Hanjing's soul was battling fiercely with these worms. Worms were constantly being killed by her. She not only killed the worms, but also absorbed their soul fragments to replenish her own power. Fortunately, Ji Hanjing's soul was still relatively intact. The intact soul kept inflating the soul world, allowing the entire soul world to barely maintain its complete form. However, Lin Moyu could also see that Ji Hanjing was fighting very hard. Although worms were constantly being killed, her soul was continuously taking damage. Most of the soul power gained from killing worms was used to heal herself. And because there was no time to purify and refine this external soul power, Ji Hanjing's soul was no longer as pure, with many impurities added. For a cultivator, the purity of the soul is very important. If the soul becomes impure, it becomes very difficult to advance to higher realms. Ji Hanjing had an accident when advancing to the Tao Venerable realm, which means she had been dealing with these worms since the 1st level of Tao Venerable. Under these circumstances, for Ji Hanjing to still cultivate to the 3rd level of Tao Venerable was truly remarkable. Lin Moyu didn't take action immediately, but quietly observed. He could see that Ji Hanjing was not in immediate danger. This battle was about to enter its final stage, and Ji Hanjing had begun to retreat. Ji Hanjing was now at the center of her soul. She fought while retreating, giving up the central position of her soul in the process of withdrawal. A large number of worms quickly occupied the soul, and finally the area Ji Hanjing could control became smaller and smaller. After Ji Hanjing retreated to a certain extent, she took out a soul treasure. This treasure looked like a dragon scale, with complex and profound patterns carved on it. Ji Hanjing activated the treasure, which suddenly burst forth with ice power, freezing the large worms. The ice formed a wall, winning Ji Hanjing a space for survival. Ji Hanjing immediately began to refine the soul power she had just absorbed, while repairing her injuries. However, no matter how she refined, it was already a bit late. The impurities in her soul were still increasing. At this time, most of the soul world had been occupied by worms. Reflected in reality, Ji Hanjing had ended her cultivation and become foolish, sometimes even doing strange things. If she recovered and then fought the worms again, regaining control of part of her soul, in reality she would enter a cultivation state. Actually, at this time, she was battling the worms. However, the ice wall couldn't last too long. The time given to Ji Hanjing for refinement and recovery wouldn't be much. This soul treasure, after each use, needed to wait for a certain time before it could be used again. The time waiting for the treasure to recover was the time Ji Hanjing battled the worms. Ji Hanjing needed to use battle methods to buy time for the treasure, and also for herself. In this repeated process, Ji Hanjing's cultivation rapidly increased, and the impurities in her soul also rapidly increased. The most troublesome thing was that the worms were rapidly reproducing, definitely at a rate faster than Ji Hanjing could kill them. Lin Moyu believed that when the worms first arrived, there certainly weren't this many. If there had been this many worms from the start, Ji Hanjing wouldn't have been able to hold on until now. But now with the worms increasing, it was hard to say how much longer Ji Hanjing could hold on. At the same time, Lin Moyu also figured out why Ji Hanjing couldn't leave the Coldwater Holy Land. It was also because of this soul treasure. The ice great Tao power in the Coldwater Holy Land could make the soul treasure recover faster, shortening its cooldown time. This was currently Ji Hanjing's most important life-saving item. How could she leave it? And why outsiders couldn't force their way into the soul world using normal methods was also because of these worms. These worms had already surrounded the soul world. To force one's way in, one would first have to face these worms. Then one could only increase their power to force their way in, but that way, there was a possibility of hurting Ji Hanjing. Regarding souls, most people on the origin continent were often at a loss. Lin Moyu had already seen clearly, and his eyes revealed approval. Indeed a strong person, even in such a situation, she hasn't given up. Very much like Hanyu. But there are too many impurities in her soul. Under such circumstances, it won't be easy to advance to the 4th level of Tao Venerable. Fortunately, I'm here. Your misfortune should end now. Lin Moyu flew half a circle around the soul world, then chose a relatively large hole. He carefully controlled the world-burning fire to enlarge the hole, then crawled in. The position he chose was just outside Ji Hanjing's ice wall. The two were separated by an ice wall, behind which was the only safe place. Lin Moyu looked at Ji Hanjing, with countless soul worms behind him. At this time, Lin Moyu was enveloped by the world-burning fire, and the soul worms couldn't get close at all. He reached out and lightly knocked on the ice wall, as if knocking on a door. The sound wasn't loud, but it transmitted clearly behind the ice wall. Ji Hanjing, who was refining her soul, suddenly opened her eyes and saw Lin Moyu standing behind the ice wall. Her eyes revealed disbelief. "You, who are you?" Perhaps it had been too many years since she had spoken, or perhaps Lin Moyu's appearance shocked her. Her voice trembled, somewhat stuttering. Lin Moyu said, "My name is Lin Moyu. I'm your sister's husband, here to save you." The next second, Ji Hanjing's eyes widened. "What?" Lin Moyu nodded. "That's right, Hanyu is my wife." After reacting, Ji Hanjing obviously didn't believe Lin Moyu's words. "Impossible, my sister said she would never marry." Lin Moyu smiled and said, "Words that have been said can sometimes be changed. The details, let Hanyu tell you after I save you." As he spoke, Lin Moyu waved his hand, and a huge fire wall suddenly formed, replacing the ice wall to form a defense. The fire wall formed by the world-burning fire was more powerful than the ice wall. All the worms that rushed over were burned to death by the world-burning fire and refined into powdery soul crystals. Lin Moyu said, "Remove the ice wall. I'll treat your injuries first." Ji Hanjing didn't doubt Lin Moyu's identity. She knew that Lin Moyu's appearance might be her only chance. Now she could only grasp this lifeline, otherwise she only had death awaiting her. Lin Moyu came in front of Ji Hanjing and looked at her soul. "Did you think that if you could advance to the 4th level of Tao Venerable, you could kill all these worms?" Ji Hanjing frankly admitted, "Yes, they're just numerous, not very strong. If I could advance to the 4th level of Tao Venerable, I could definitely kill them all." Lin Moyu said, "You're not wrong, but it will be very difficult for you to advance to the 4th level of Tao Venerable now." Ji Hanjing also admitted this point, "But I have to try, don't I?" Lin Moyu smiled and said, "You're very much like Hanyu. You won't give up until the very end." He lightly pointed his finger, and a spirit flower bloomed. "I'll help you remove the impurities in your soul first." Ji Yu Hanjing didn't resist the spirit flower, allowing it to envelop her. There were two types of impurities in the soul. One type was inherent, which would decrease as the realm increased. The spirit flower was ineffective against this type of impurity. The other type was external. External impurities would pollute the soul, which was actually a kind of injury. The spirit flower could remove this type of impurity. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3395, 3395. Chapter 3395, If only there were more brothers-in-law like this. Fortunately, Ji Yu Hanjing's cultivation level wasn't too high. The spirit flower was like a divine medicine for her, quickly removing the impurities in her soul at a visible speed. Lin Moyu wasn't in a hurry to remove the soul worms. He carefully observed Ji Yu Hanjing's soul world. Her soul world was neither strong nor weak, average among Dao venerables. There were 6 spell stars, meaning she had 6 spells. Countless soul worms had surrounded the spell stars and were invading them. The spell stars flickered brightly, releasing powerful energy to resist the soul worms. Spell stars can be said to be the foundation of cultivators and are difficult to invade. The soul worms could only weaken the spell strength to some degree, but couldn't truly occupy the spell stars. Unless one day Ji Yu Hanjing's soul body was also occupied by worms, only then would the spell stars fall. Lin Moyu noted the positions of the spell stars, thinking he could make good use of them. He began to conceive how to deal with these soul worms. He wanted to achieve a lot, not just save Ji Yu Hanjing, but also help her take a big step forward. In cultivation, yin and yang are balanced, and blessings and misfortunes are intertwined. The soul worms were a disaster, but also an opportunity. If handled well, it would be a rare chance for Ji Yu Hanjing. All the suffering of these years would finally turn into sweet dew. Gradually, Lin Moyu had an idea. He quickly simulated it and found it should be feasible. A moment later, Ji Yu Hanjing woke up from the spirit flower. The power of the spirit flower was exhausted at this moment and dispersed into points of light. Ji Yu Hanjing hadn't felt this comfortable in a long time. The impurities in her soul body had been completely removed, making her entire soul clear and transparent. She felt extremely joyful. "Thank you, brother-in-law." Ji Yu Hanjing happily called him brother-in-law. With just one spirit flower, she decisively sold out her own sister. This was normal. At her most desperate moment, Lin Moyu, this brother-in-law, came from the void and immediately relieved her years of misfortune. Ji Yu Hanjing hoped for more brothers-in-law like this. Lin Moyu looked at Ji Yu Hanjing and said, as if evaluating, "Your soul is clear, impurities gone. You now have the foundation to continue advancing. Although you've suffered a lot these years, your Tao heart has become more firm. This can also be a condition for your advancement. I have an idea. If successful, it can not only resolve your current predicament, but also greatly advance your cultivation. However, you'll have to endure some pain in the process. If you're unwilling, I have another more conservative method, but you won't gain any benefits." Ji Yu Hanjing made her choice almost without hesitation. "Brother-in-law, I want to advance further." Lin Moyu was surprised, so decisive. Ji Yu Hanjing nodded vigorously. "I believe that surviving a great calamity must bring good fortune. I want to strive for this fortune myself." Lin Moyu chuckled. "Then I'll help you." Ji Yu Hanjing asked, "Thank you, brother-in-law. What should I do?" Lin Moyu said, "You just stay here and don't need to do anything. However, you'll have to bear the pain yourself. Your brother-in-law can't help with that." Ji Yu Hanjing nodded slightly. "Go ahead and do it." She now completely trusted Lin Moyu. After all, in all these years, only Lin Moyu had come here to save her. Lin Moyu flew out from the fire wall. Cloaked in the world-burning fire, the soul worms couldn't get near him at all. Lin Moyu used the world-burning fire as ink, combining it with his soul power to quickly draw rune after rune. One by one, profound and complex fire runes flew out from his fingertips towards various corners of the soul world. In the blink of an eye, Ji Yu Hanjing's soul world was covered with fire runes. Drawing runes with the world-burning fire would have been much more difficult for Lin Moyu a month ago. But after obtaining the divine talisman drawing method from Ji-Yu Hanyu, Lin Moyu had a completely new understanding of runes. Unconsciously, his runes began to have the characteristics of divine talismans and were transforming into divine talismans. One of the features of divine talismans was to fuse soul power with other types of substances or powers, not just pure soul power. Lin Moyu was now fusing soul power with the world-burning fire to draw runes similar to divine talismans. The formation created this way would be more powerful than ordinary rune formations, but weaker than divine talisman formations. Ji-Yu Hanjing stood behind the fire wall, watching Lin Moyu draw runes, her eyes full of admiration. Lin Moyu's movements were so beautiful, natural and graceful, carrying the rhythm of the Tao. At this moment he was like an immortal. Brother-in-law is so amazing. Ji-Yu Hanjing couldn't help exclaiming, sister is really amazing to find such an amazing brother-in-law. Lin Moyu didn't know her thoughts. After finishing setting up the formation, he transmitted to Ji-Yu Hanjing, I'm going to start. Pain will come, endure it well. Ji-Yu Hanjing said, don't worry, I can bear it. Lin Moyu snapped his fingers, begin. The formation rumbled into operation. In an instant, countless flames spread throughout the entire soul world. Ji-Yu Hanjing's soul world turned into a sea of fire, and it was a sea of fire formed by the world-burning fire. The world-burning fire could refine souls. With Ji-Yu Hanjing's soul, just a tiny bit of world-burning fire would be enough to burn her to death. So Lin Moyu had to control it very precisely to ensure Ji-Yu Hanjing's safety. Otherwise, if he failed to save her and instead burned her to death, that would be a big problem. So he chose to use a formation. Only a formation could achieve this effect. If he directly used the world-burning fire to create a sea of fire, although it could also burn the soul worms to death, it would be difficult to guarantee precision. The world-burning fire burned fiercely, countless soul worms were burned to death, turning into powdery soul crystals. Although each speck of powder was insignificant, there were so many that the total amount was quite considerable. Lin Moyu controlled the formation, quickly clearing out the soul worms inside the soul world. The areas burned by the world-burning fire were extremely clean. Then the world-burning fire began to burn towards the outer shell of the soul world. There were still a large number of soul worms there, and these soul worms were the most difficult to remove. They had almost fused with the soul world. While burning them to death, it would inevitably damage Ji-Yu Hanjing's soul world. This situation was unavoidable. Lin Moyu had no good solution and could only let Ji-Yu Hanjing bear it herself. The outer shell of the soul world was burned away along with the soul worms by the world-burning fire. Intense pain transmitted to Ji-Yu Hanjing's soul body. As the soul world was damaged, Ji-Yu Hanjing would inevitably be affected. Ji-Yu Hanjing's soul curled up in pain, trembling, but she didn't make a sound, not even a groan. Lin Moyu transmitted, can you still hold on? Ji-Yu Hanjing gritted her teeth and said, no problem, I can hold on. It was clear that Ji-Yu Hanjing was very strong. If she wasn't strong, she would have given up many years ago. Lin Moyu then burned faster. Short pain was better than long pain. After 1/10 of the soul world was burned away, Lin Moyu stopped and tossed out a spirit flower. The spirit flower bloomed, enveloping the burned area. Under the effect of the spirit flower, the burned area began to recover rapidly. Lin Moyu then began to burn another area, completely clearing away all the soul worms on it, leaving none behind. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3396, 3396. Chapter 3396, you make it sound like you're very reluctant. Lin Moyu would burn away 1/10, then use a spirit flower to heal, before continuing to burn another area. At the same time, Lin Moyu also controlled the burning speed, trying to keep it consistent with the healing speed of the spirit flower as much as possible. With this cycle, the outer shell of Ji-Yu Hanjing's soul world quickly became clean. Under the healing of the spirit flower, the newly born outer shell of the soul world shone brightly like crystal, no longer having that dilapidated feeling of being riddled with holes like before. At this moment, Ji-Yu Hanjing was in pain but also happy. The world-burning fire brought intense pain that was hard to bear, but when the spirit flower was healing, there was an indescribable feeling of comfort. These two completely opposite feelings not only didn't conflict, but appeared together. Ji-Yu Hanjing was a bit confused, unable to distinguish if it was really painful or fake comfort. She simply stopped thinking about it and held firm to her Tao heart, accepting everything whether painful or comfortable. In Lin Moyu's view, Ji Hanjing's Tao heart was becoming more and more stable. Such a Tao heart would be beneficial for the future. This great disaster was actually an unimaginable great tempering for Ji Hanjing. In the future, no matter what she encountered, Ji Hanjing would be able to handle it calmly. Destruction before construction. In the destruction, Ji Hanjing's soul world completed its rebirth. All the worms from the soul void were completely cleared away. The newly born soul world was like crystal, clear and transparent. Even Ji Hanjing's soul was faintly glowing. Lin Moyu waved his hand to remove the formation, and millions of tiny lights gathered in his palm. The tiny lights were the soul crystals left behind after the soul worms were burned to death. These soul crystals were really small, but fortunately there were many of them, adding up to quite a considerable amount. Lin Moyu sent these soul crystals to Ji Hanjing, absorb them. Ji Hanjing asked curiously, "Brother-in-law, what is this?" Lin Moyu said, "Soul crystals, refined from those worms after they died. What you got before from killing them was similar, but what you got wasn't refined and purified, having too many impurities. These are the products after purification and won't have side effects. After you absorb them, contemplate well. Your cultivation can increase greatly in a short time. The suffering of these years won't be in vain." Ji Hanjing happily exclaimed, "Really? Brother-in-law is so good, thank you brother-in-law." Ji Hanjing thanked him generously, calling him brother-in-law frequently. Lin Moyu found that Ji Hanjing was quite different from her sister. Ji Hanyu may have been the Holy Lord for too long, usually cold and serious. Ji Hanjing was much more lively. Even after suffering so much for years, once rescued, her true nature showed. Lin Moyu said, "All right, I should go back now. You cultivate a bit and then wake up. Your sister is waiting outside." Ji Hanjing nodded, "I just need to adjust a bit." After losing control of her soul world for so many years, Ji Hanjing indeed needed to adjust. Ji Hanjing came to the center of the soul world, sat cross-legged, and opened a departure channel for Lin Moyu. She waved to Lin Moyu, "Take care brother-in-law, see you in a bit." Lin Moyu chuckled, "See you in a bit." As he was leaving, he saw all the soul crystals being absorbed into Ji Hanjing's body. Lin Moyu shook his head slightly, she's really quite impatient. He left Ji Hanjing's soul world and returned along his own sense. This time there were no accidents. Lin Moyu accurately returned to his own soul world. In the soul world, the dragon soul crystal was still refining the soul crystals. The Black Blood Fist Saint's soul crystal was of a higher level, so the refining speed wasn't fast. But because of this, the dragon soul crystal gained quite a few benefits. On the dragon soul crystal, the 11th color was condensing and solidifying, becoming the same as the other colors. After the 11th color fully formed, the dragon soul crystal would truly surpass the legend of 10 colors. Lin Moyu didn't know how to call an 11-colored dragon soul crystal. Perhaps even the dragon race wouldn't have records of it. After this experience, Lin Moyu had a new understanding of the world-burning fire. In the real world, being burned to death by the world-burning fire doesn't refine into soul crystals. To obtain soul crystals, you can only enter the soul void. Looking at it this way, the world-burning fire is indeed a powerful tool in the soul void, just like the great Tao essence fire. However, the world-burning fire can also refine worlds, turning worlds into world crystals. In this aspect, it surpasses the great Tao essence fire. What exactly is the origin of the world-burning fire, to be so powerful? Is that mysterious master really from the greater world? How could someone from the greater world obtain such a powerful flame? It's strange. Thinking of the mysterious master, Lin Moyu also thought of his greater world and smaller world. The people who came out from the small world into the greater world disappeared. The several heavenly venerables who came out from the greater world into the origin continent also vanished without a trace. Are they still alive? Where did the small world go, and how are they now? Thinking of this, Lin Moyu felt a bit of a headache. He clearly felt that behind all these events, there should be a driving force, pushing everything, controlling everything. But why it was done this way, Lin Moyu couldn't figure out no matter how much he thought about it. Putting aside these messy thoughts, Lin Moyu's consciousness returned to the real world. Slowly opening his eyes, he saw Ji Hanyu and Little Mei chatting and drinking tea nearby. Looking at the two, they didn't seem worried at all. Seeing Lin Moyu wake up, Little May giggled, teacher is awake, you must be tired. Come have some tea quickly. Lin Moyu smiled and said, you don't seem worried at all. Little May said, we were worried at first, but later we weren't. Ji Yu Hanyu said, Jinger's aura stabilized. We knew you must have succeeded, so we weren't worried anymore. Lin Moyu looked at Ji Yu Hanjing. At this moment, Ji Yu Hanjing's aura was not only stable but steadily rising. It was clear she was getting closer and closer to the 4th level of Tao Venerable. The breakthrough would probably happen in just a few minutes. Lin Moyu said, Jinger survived a great calamity and will surely have good fortune. This breakthrough is just the beginning. I estimate it won't be long before she breaks through to the 5th level of Tao Venerable, maybe even the 6th level isn't impossible. Ji Yu Hanyu asked, what exactly happened to Jinger? Lin Moyu said in a low voice, she was entangled by a kind of worm from the soul void. He recounted what had happened to Ji Yu Hanjing. Lin Moyu spoke lightly, but Ji Yu Hanyu and Little May listened with some horror. Imagining their own soul worlds crawling with worms, it was a terrifying thing. But Ji Yu Hanjing had found a way to survive in that situation and persisted for so long. If not for her persistence, she wouldn't have been able to hold on until Lin Moyu appeared and finally be rescued. Lin Moyu said, after this ordeal, Jinger's Tao heart is firm. Her future achievements are limitless. Becoming an elder is almost certain. Ji Yu Hanyu looked at Lin Moyu curiously, it's only been this short time, and you and Jinger are already so familiar. Lin Moyu chuckled, doesn't Hanyu know, your sister is very easy to get along with. She calls me brother-in-law so affectionately, I naturally have to accept it. Ji Yu Hanyu snorted lightly, you make it sound like you're very reluctant. Lin Moyu smiled and didn't respond. At this moment, trying to reason with a woman, he wasn't a fool who had just come along. Suddenly, a powerful aura shot up to the sky from the small courtyard, causing the great formation of the Coldwater Holy Land to resonate violently. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up, go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3397, 3397. Chapter 3397, whoever dares to disobey, directly suppress them. The great formation enveloping the Coldwater Holy Land rumbled non-stop, and plum blossoms appeared from within the formation. Ji Yu Hanyu's eyes showed surprise, Hanjing has awakened her cold plum bloodline. Little May pretended to be mature, with an elderly manner, naturally awakening the cold plum bloodline, it seems the candidate for the next Holy Lord has appeared. Ji Yu Hanyu said, Plum ancestor, you mean Jinger. Little May immediately corrected her, Master's wife, don't call me Plum ancestor. I'm Little May, not the Plum ancestor. Master's wife should know, there's an unwritten rule in the Holy Land. If someone can awaken the cold plum bloodline at the 4th level of Tao Venerable, they qualify to become the next Holy Lord. Now Master's wife is about to step down, and Jinger has just awakened her cold plum bloodline. Isn't this perfect? Ji Yu Hanyu frowned. From her expression, she clearly didn't know about what Little May was saying. Ji Yu Hanyu muttered to herself, there's such a rule in the Holy Land. How come I don't know about it? Little May said, maybe those elders didn't tell you. But it's understandable. Historically, very few people could awaken the cold plum bloodline at the 4th level of Tao Venerable. Master's wife didn't awaken it then either, right? Indeed, Ji Yu Hanyu hadn't awakened the cold plum bloodline at the 4th level of Tao Venerable. In fact, in the recent hundreds of thousands of years, no one had awakened the cold plum bloodline at the 4th level of Tao Venerable. Basically, those who could awaken the cold plum bloodline all did so after becoming elders, in the 9 Extremes Glacier. Lin Moyu could hear that the Ji Yu family valued their cold plum bloodline highly. In fact, those with the cold plum bloodline cultivated faster and their spells were more powerful. Ji Yu Hanyu didn't doubt Little May's words. After all, Little May's previous life was as the plum ancestor, so she would naturally know more than herself. Ji Yu Hanyu was already thinking about whether it was appropriate for Ji Yu Hanjing to be the new Holy Lord. Lin Moyu saw through Ji Yu Hanyu's thoughts and said softly with a smile, if Jinger becomes the Holy Lord, she might be more suitable than you. Ji Yu Hanyu looked over, why do you say that? Lin Moyu said, you're strong but lack gentleness. Think about it, after you became Holy Lord, things stabilized a lot at first, but in the recent thousands of years, hasn't chaos gradually increased? I've looked at your Holy Land's history. When you first became Holy Lord, it was just after the conflict with the Question Tao sect ended. In that great war, the Cold Water Holy Land won by luck, but suffered great damage itself. At that time, some small forces within the Holy Land showed signs of restlessness. At that time, you used harsh methods, decisive in killing, suppressing several forces, making those fellows not dare to have different thoughts. At that time, your approach wasn't wrong. But later you always maintained these harsh, decisive methods, which was a bit too much and didn't benefit the Holy Land much. Lin Moyu spoke very gently, as if telling a story, stating a fact. Listening to Lin Moyu's words, Ji Hanyu thought back on what had happened in the recent thousands of years, and it did seem to be so. Her methods were too harsh. In the recent thousands of years, there had been more and more unrest within the Holy Land's sphere of influence. Ji Hanyu said softly, I know harsh methods aren't good, but sometimes, quick and decisive action is most effective. History tells me that being indecisive is even worse. Lin Moyu chuckled, who told you to be indecisive? The correct approach should be to win over some, strike down others, let enemies fight enemies, while you as the ruler should observe from above. There's a game called cockfighting. When two roosters are fighting, have you ever seen the owner get involved personally? Ji Hanyu had to admit that Lin Moyu's words made sense. She suddenly stretched, revealing her long white neck, and let out a very alluring sigh. Anyway, I'm about to stop being Holy Lord. How the next Holy Lord does things, I don't care anymore. At this moment, Ji Hanyu seemed to shed the halo of Holy Lord, revealing a bit of a young woman's demeanor. Lin Moyu said, yes, you've achieved your goals and are retiring. After that, let the flood come. Ji Hanyu glared at Lin Moyu, talking nonsense. Whether I'm Holy Lord or not, I'm still a member of the Ji family. Lin Moyu smiled without responding. Jokes should stop at the right point and not go too far. Some auras rapidly approached. Elder Kang and Ice Ancestor arrived together. Ji Hanjing's awakening of the Cold Plum bloodline had caused the formation to resonate, alerting the two. The appearance of the Cold Plum bloodline was a big event, so they immediately rushed over. Seeing the owner of the Cold Plum bloodline, both were uncertain and surprised. Ice Ancestor asked Ji Hanyu, Holy Lord, is Hanjing better? Ji Hanyu nodded, she's already better. Not only better, but she's also turned misfortune into blessing, greatly advancing her cultivation and awakening the Cold Plum bloodline. Ice Ancestor couldn't believe it. She had also looked at Ji Hanjing's problem and had no solution. She couldn't help but ask, how did Hanjing get better? Ji Kang interjected, do you need to ask? It must have been young friend Lin who acted. Besides young friend Lin, who else could have such great ability? Ji Kang had already praised Lin Moyu to the skies. In his view, no matter what Lin Moyu did, it wasn't surprising. Ji Hanyu also added, it was my husband who cured Jinger. Ice Ancestor, Hanyu has something to ask. Now that Jinger has awakened the Cold Plum bloodline, can she become the new Holy Lord? Ice Ancestor didn't even think, of course. There's a rule in the Holy Land. As long as one awakens the Cold Plum bloodline before becoming an elder, they qualify to become Holy Lord. It's perfect that you're about to step down. This position of Holy Lord, let's give it to Hanjing. The position of Holy Lord that others dream of was so casual in Ice Ancestor's mouth, giving it to whoever she wanted. It's understandable. After all, to these elders, who becomes Holy Lord doesn't actually matter that much. If there's really any big event, it's still these elders who take charge. Of course, the Holy Lord is still the nominal leader. Ji Hanyu's thunderous methods from back then are still terrifyingly infamous among the people. Ji Hanyu still had some doubts, but Jinger is only at the 4th level of Tao Venerable. I'm afraid she won't be able to keep those fellows in check. Those fellows included people both inside and outside the Holy Land. The 4th level of Tao Venerable was indeed a bit low. But Ice Ancestor didn't care at all, rules are rules. After Hanjing becomes Holy Lord, this ancestor will sit in support beside her. Whoever dares to disobey, directly suppress them. Ice Ancestor was like Ji Hanyu, decisive in killing. Whoever disobeyed would be directly killed, maybe not even given a chance to explain. Ji Kang said, you old woman, can you stop talking about killing all the time? Can't we sit down and talk things out properly? Ice Ancestor snorted coldly, what's there to talk about? What's the point of keeping people who don't obey? Ji Hanyu said, Ice Ancestor, Hanyu has some thoughts. Your approach isn't wrong, but sometimes it's not very appropriate. My husband is right, different times require different methods. If Jinger really takes the position of Holy Lord, you should listen to Jinger on some matters. Ice Ancestor looked at Ji Hanyu, pondered for a few seconds. She's the Holy Lord, naturally the Holy Land's affairs are for her to manage. The elders are only responsible for taking action, not managing other things. Although still very strong, this was actually a compromise. Ji Hanyu bowed to Ice Ancestor. Hanyu thanks Ice Ancestor. The formation's vibrations became more and more intense. Countless plum blossoms suddenly exploded, then an even larger plum blossom formed, rotating non-stop in the sky. Such unusual activity attracted the attention of everyone in the Coldwater Holy Land. Even some who were in closed cultivation were awakened. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3398. 3398. Chapter 3398. Flower Gathering Secret Technique, Absurd Wu Family. One elder after another looked at the sky, gazing at the converging cold plum blossoms, all with shocked expressions. Such a strong bloodline. I wonder which junior has awakened the cold plum bloodline, to cause such an unusual phenomenon. Remarkable. Our Coldwater Holy Land is about to produce another peerless genius. The elders knew what this phenomenon represented and became excited one after another. Although the young disciples didn't know what the phenomenon meant, they knew it must not be a bad thing. The Cold Plum bloodline was the highest bloodline of the Coldwater Holy Land. Many disciples even vaguely felt their own bloodlines boiling, just like their hearts. Wu Xingguang was in his own courtyard, looking at the distant cold plum blossoms, feeling vaguely uneasy. He said in a low voice, "Elder, do you know what's happening?" The Wu family's 7th-level elder said, "According to family records, the Jiyu family of the Coldwater Holy Land possesses the Cold Plum bloodline. Once this bloodline awakens, cultivating the Ice Great Tao becomes twice as effective, and the power of related secret techniques and spells greatly increases. But the Cold Plum bloodline is not easy to awaken. It often only awakens after reaching the 7th level. Even the current Holy Lord Ji Hanyu has not awakened the Cold Plum bloodline. This time the Coldwater Holy Land has a Cold Plum bloodline awakening. I don't know if it's one of their elders or someone else. If it's an elder, that's normal. If it's someone else, it only means the Coldwater Holy Land's luck is flourishing and they've produced a peerless genius." Wu Xingguang frowned. "Could they be more of a genius than me?" The 7th-level elder said, "You can't compare like that. The definition of genius isn't about a moment, but about a lifetime. It's about who can go further and live longer in this lifetime of cultivation. Even the most genius person, if they fall halfway, they're no longer a genius. A dead genius is no different from an ordinary person." Wu Xingguang gritted his teeth and said in a low voice, "Once I marry Ji Hanjing and use the secret technique to take all her cultivation, this young master's achievements will certainly not be inferior to any genius of this age." The 7th-level elder said, "Even so, we must act carefully. We can't kill her, otherwise we won't be able to explain to the Coldwater Holy Land." Wu Xingguang chuckled, "Of course, I do have some self-control." Several minutes after the cold plum blossoms appeared, they finally disappeared. Ji Hanjing slowly opened her eyes. At this moment, her aura had qualitatively changed, advancing from the 3rd level of Tao Venerable to the 4th level. Moreover, her potential was far from fully released. In the long period to come, her cultivation would rapidly increase. Reaching the 5th level of Tao Venerable wouldn't be a problem, and even the 6th level wasn't impossible. After suffering for so many years and escaping death, she would naturally receive ample rewards. "Sister." Ji Hanjing excitedly bounced over, throwing herself into Ji Hanyu's arms. Ji Hanyu was also teary-eyed at this moment. "Jinger has finally returned." Ji Hanjing giggled, "Of course I could come back." The two sisters hugged for a while before separating. Ji Hanjing looked at Lin Moyu with a smile. "Brother-in-law, your real person looks better than your soul." Lin Moyu smiled and said, "Are you complimenting me on looking good, or criticizing my soul for being ugly?" Ji Hanjing giggled, "That depends on how brother-in-law wants to take it." At this time, she noticed that Ji Kang and Ji Hanbing were also here. Her expression became strange. "Ice Ancestor, Kang Ancestor, why are you here too?" Ice Ancestor said, "Don't you know what just happened?" Ji Hanjing said, "What could have happened?" I just broke through, that's all. Ice Ancestor said, do you know that you've awakened the Cold Plum bloodline? Ji Hanjing was clearly unaware of what had just happened, and didn't know she had awakened the Cold Plum bloodline. Ice Ancestor said, use your full power and try to sense your bloodline. Ji Hanjing did as told. Powerful aura shot to the sky, her bloodline surging. On Ji Hanjing's brow, a cold plum blossom appeared, lifelike and very clear. The clearer the cold plum blossom, the stronger her cold plum bloodline. Kang Ancestor said, not bad, you've awakened a very strong cold plum bloodline. Ice Ancestor said in a low voice, good, you qualify to become the new Holy Lord. Ji Hanjing exclaimed, me, become Holy Lord. Ice Ancestor said, that's right. Hanyu is about to get married, leaving the position of Holy Lord vacant. Originally we were discussing having Hanyu choose someone, but now that you've awakened the Cold Plum bloodline, according to the Holy Land's rules, you're the next Holy Lord. Ji Hanjing quickly said, no, I can't do it. I don't have that ability. Kang Ancestor chuckled, don't worry about that. Among us elders, many have been Holy Lords before. They will all teach you. And with Ice Ancestor supporting you from behind, what are you afraid of? If anyone doesn't obey, beat them until they do. Ice Ancestor said, this is this ancestor's decision, and also your sister's decision. You can't disobey. At this time, Ji Hanjing looked pitifully at Ji Hanyu, sister, help me say something. I really can't do it. Ji Hanyu shook her head, it's no problem. Sister believes in you. For her own and Lin Moyu's happiness, Ji Hanyu directly sold out Ji Hanjing. Now Ji Hanjing was like being roasted on fire, having to go up whether she wanted to or not. Finally, with great reluctance, Ji Hanjing could only agree. Looking at Ji Hanjing's bitter face, as if saying she'd rather fight soul worms than this, just out of the tiger's mouth and into the wolf's den, her suffering wasn't over yet. Ji Hanyu smiled and said, Jinger, there's one more thing for you to do. Young Master Wu Xingguang of the Wu family wants to propose marriage to you. What? Ji Hanjing jumped up with a scream. This news was like a bolt from the blue, shocking her to the core. Not just her, but the two elders were also shocked. Ice Ancestor said, has that fellow gone mad? Holy Lord, didn't you refuse? Ji Hanyu said, I did refuse, but he's holding your token, Ice Ancestor. He insists that Jinger must refuse in person. You know Jinger's previous condition, how could she refuse in person? Ice Ancestor thought for a moment, years ago, the Wu family helped me once, so I left them a token that would allow them to make one not too excessive request. As time passed, I forgot about this matter. I didn't expect it to be used like this. But why do they want to marry Jinger? Ji Hanyu shared her guess, mentioning the Ice Soul secret technique. Kang Ancestor frowned, it should be because of the Wu family's flower gathering secret technique. Ice Ancestor asked, what is the flower gathering secret technique? Kang Ancestor said, this is a very ancient secret technique. Its basic function is for dual cultivation, but it has another ability that only a few people know about. This technique can absorb the cultivation of the dual cultivation partner, transferring the other party's cultivation to oneself. The Wu family has used this secret technique to do many absurd and outrageous things in the past. Ji Hanjing asked curiously, how absurd? Kang Ancestor said, when the Wu family's ancestors were nearing the end of their lifespan, they would have their descendants use this secret technique to absorb their cultivation. Dual cultivation technique, absorbing cultivation, from their own ancestors. Ji Hanjing finally understood, her cheeks turning red, what a shameless technique. Ice Ancestor's face was gloomy at this point, so you're saying, the Wu family learned about Hanjing's situation, and wants to use the Ice Soul secret technique along with their flower gathering secret technique to absorb all of Hanjing's cultivation. Kang Ancestor nodded, it should be so. I know there are several elders in the Holy Land who have long wanted to send Hanjing away. In their eyes, Hanjing has long been useless. Using this to form a marriage alliance with the Wu family is also a good choice for them. Ice Ancestor snorted coldly, we need to investigate which fellow came up with this idea. This ancestor wants to teach them a lesson. Hearing that some elders wanted to use her as a tool, Ji Hanjing's face also turned ashen. Ji Hanyu gently squeezed her hand, Jinger, some things may be different from what you imagine. Once you take the position of Holy Lord, you'll gradually understand. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up, go to email protected translate toki. Remove the at symbol and type a. Chapter 3399, 3399. Chapter 3399, My fist isn't big enough, I can only accept my fate. Many things cannot be understood until one is in that position. When many of the Coldwater Holy Land's elders were still ordinary disciples, they may have considered friendships and relationships. When young, people are more likely to act on impulse and do rash things. But once they become elders and have lived for hundreds of thousands of years, with all their former peers gone, what they consider begins to change. Juniors are merely juniors. They care more about gains and losses, will calculate and compare, and are more concerned with the interests of the entire sect and Holy Land. So they lose some of their human touch, putting sect interests first. The more selfish ones will even consider personal interests. When disciples are abandoned, they become tools to be used as much as possible. As for whether the disciples' final treatment is fair, it's actually not within the consideration of those elders. This is human nature, and reality. It's very difficult to teach, as Ji-Yu Hanyu said, only when one reaches that position can they understand. Lin Moyu looked at the ashen-faced Ji-Yu Hanjing. Actually, you don't need to think too much. There's a universal rule in this world, and that's the fist. As long as your fist is big enough and hard enough, you don't need to care about anything or weigh anything. No one will dare to go against your will. Lin Moyu's words were easy to understand. Ji-Yu Hanjing completely understood and gritted her teeth. Then I'll cultivate to the highest realm and make everyone who dares to bully me pay the price. Lin Moyu chuckled, not knowing what kind of days awaited that elder who had proposed using Ji-Yu Hanjing as a waste resource. Having provoked such a young mistress, their days probably wouldn't be too good. They could only pray for themselves. Ji-Yu Hanyu said, we'll talk about these things later. Now Jinger needs to go personally refuse Wu Xingguang and take back Ice Ancestor's token. Ji-Yu Hanjing nodded vigorously, I want to see which fellow is so bold as to have designs on this young lady. Ji-Yu Hanyu teleported everyone to the main hall and ordered someone to call Wu Xingguang over. A moment later, Wu Xingguang arrived at the hall with his two 7th-level elders. Seeing Ji-Yu Hanjing sitting beside Ji-Yu Hanyu, Wu Xingguang's heart sank, and he thought to himself, this is bad. He never imagined his information could be wrong, that Ji-Yu Hanjing would be safe and sound. Ji-Yu Hanyu coughed lightly, her clear voice ringing out, young Master Wu, you may speak now. At this point, Wu Xingguang had already drawn his bow and couldn't not shoot. Suppressing the unease in his heart, he gathered his courage and said, Fairy Jing, I am Wu Xingguang of the Wu family. I've come specially to propose marriage to you. Before he could finish, Ji-Yu Hanjing glared at him, get lost. What are you to dare propose to this young lady? Ji-Yu Hanjing was currently holding back anger, her temper very bad. Wu Xingguang couldn't even finish the second half of his sentence before being shut down. His face changed dramatically, Fairy Jing, if you have any requests, feel free to make them. This young master can satisfy them all. Ji-Yu Hanjing suddenly smiled, all right then. Cripple your own cultivation right now. If you're willing to cripple your cultivation, this young lady doesn't mind taking a male concubine and keeping you by her side. Wu Xingguang's face immediately turned extremely ugly. He couldn't possibly meet Ji-Yu Hanjing's demand. Crippling his cultivation at his age was equivalent to suicide. Wu Xingguang's eyes rolled, and he took a deep breath. Since Fairy Jing is adamant about not marrying this young master, I won't force the issue. I'll take my leave then. As he said this, he turned to leave. But just as he turned, he heard Ji-Yu Hanyu's voice, young Master Wu may leave, but please leave Ice Ancestor's token as agreed. Wu Xingguang clearly didn't want to hand over Ice Ancestor's token. He argued forcefully, just now Fairy Jing didn't personally refuse. It's just that this young master couldn't meet Fairy Jing's demands and voluntarily withdrew. So there's no need to return Ice Ancestor's token. Lin Moyu suddenly chuckled, if you don't want to hand it over, just say so. Why find such a lame excuse? But do you think you can leave the Coldwater Holy Land without handing over the token? The two 7th-level elders who came with Wu Xingguang simultaneously took half a step forward, shielding Wu Xingguang behind them. Wu Xingguang said in a low voice, do you want to forcibly take it? Aren't you afraid of offending my Wu family? At this moment, a voice suddenly rang out, no need for such trouble. Today this ancestor is taking back this token. Another day, this ancestor will personally visit the Wu family to seek an explanation. An immense power suddenly descended, like countless mountains falling on Wu Xingguang and the other two. All three grunted and couldn't move. The two 7th level elders' faces changed dramatically. They felt how strong this power was, far beyond what they could resist. They knew Ice Ancestor had made her move. Facing the 9th level Tao Venerable Ice Ancestor, the two of them had absolutely no power to resist. Ice Ancestor's token flew out from Wu Xingguang's bosom, shattering into powder in front of him with a bang. Then the heavy pressure disappeared. Wu Xingguang felt like he'd been granted amnesty, gasping for breath. Looking at the powder floating in the air, Wu Xingguang wanted to say something more, but was stopped by the two 7th level elders. The two transmitted to Wu Xingguang, "Let's leave first. This is the cold water holy land. Don't court death." Wu Xingguang took a deep breath and said loudly, "Since that's the case, this young master will report truthfully to the family. We respectfully await Ice Ancestor's visit. See the guests out." Ji Hanyu didn't stand on ceremony, directly ordering someone to escort Wu Xingguang and the others out. Although the cold water holy land and the Wu family hadn't completely fallen out, their relationship could now be considered hostile. But the cold water holy land wasn't afraid. No matter how long the Wu family's reach, it couldn't extend here. The cold water holy land had always been domineering in its attitude towards outsiders. Ji Hanyu said, "All right, now let's deal with our internal affairs. Jinger, come with me. There are some things I need to explain to you clearly." To hand over the position of Holy Lord to Ji Hanjing, many things needed to be explained clearly. This couldn't be done in a short time and would probably take a while. Ji Hanjing was still making a last struggle. "Sister, can't we reconsider?" Ji Hanyu chuckled, "What do you think?" As she spoke, she glanced at Lin Moyu. Ji Hanjing immediately understood her sister's meaning. She hung her head, "All right, my fist isn't as big as sister's, and definitely not as big as brother-in-law's. I can only accept my fate." Ji Hanyu lightly tapped her head, "You learn fast. Weren't you quite forceful with Wu Xingguang just now? Be like that when you become Holy Lord in the future. With Ice Ancestor supporting you from behind, what's there to be afraid of?" Ji Hanyu took Ji Hanjing away to explain the Holy Lord matters. Lin Moyu was teleported back to Ji Hanyu's residence. Lin Moyu looked around the not-so-large courtyard. It was very clean, with everything it should have, but lacking vitality. The entire courtyard was too clean, with no plants except for cold jade stones. Lin Moyu shook his head slightly, "So this is how the Holy Lord of the mighty cold water holy land lives." Little May smiled and said, "What does teacher think it should be like?" Lin Moyu said, "You can see a person from their courtyard. It seems Hanyu has been quite busy usually." He flicked his finger, and a strand of life force flew out. Instantly, the courtyard was filled with vitality. Under the cold ice, flowers and grass grew, sprouting from the earth like a miracle. Then he waved his hand, and the broken stones quickly became smooth. In the blink of an eye, the originally bare courtyard now had large patches of greenery, appearing full of life. Lin Moyu said, "This looks better. Who knows how long they'll take? Little May, cultivate for a while. Teacher also needs to cultivate for a bit. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. Chapter 3400. 3400. Chapter 3400. Little one, long time no see. Lin Moyu took out a lounge chair, chose a comfortable position to lie down, then took out a jade tablet and began examining it. Little May was somewhat curious, as this was the first time she had seen Lin Moyu cultivate like this. She guessed the jade tablet in Lin Moyu's hand must be unusual. Lin Moyu's voice sounded, "No need to be curious. This jade tablet was given by Elder Ji Hanyu. It contains knowledge about divine talismans. But with your current knowledge of formations and runes, you wouldn't be able to understand it at all. Wait until teacher masters it first, then I'll teach it to you. If you want to understand it, first lay a solid foundation in formations and runes." Little May made an "oh" sound, so it's the ancestor's token. Little May understands. Little May of course knew about divine talismans. She also knew that with her current level in formations and runes, she couldn't comprehend them at all. She would honestly study simple formations and runes first, laying a good foundation before moving on. Days passed one by one, and Lin Moyu's understanding of divine talismans deepened. He began to understand the relationship between formations, runes and divine talismans. The current formations, talisman formations, and even runes, all actually originated from divine talismans. Divine talismans were truly things that could directly connect to the great Tao. If one's talent was strong enough to cultivate formations and runes to the extreme, they would ultimately have to turn towards divine talismans. Divine talismans were a necessary path, and the only path to the great Tao. Now that he had obtained the jade tablet from Ji Hanyu, it could help him avoid many detours. 10 days later, Ji Hanyu came. Seeing her courtyard dotted with greenery, appearing full of vitality, a slight smile appeared on Ji Hanyu's face. Lin Moyu opened his eyes, explained everything clearly. Ji Hanyu nodded, explained clearly. Next is just waiting to announce Hanjing's succession as Holy Lord. Lin Moyu asked, what about our marriage? Ji Hanyu shook her head, no need for any wedding ceremony. Our cold water holy land doesn't go in for that sort of thing. The elders will explain clearly when the time comes. But before that, there's still some preparatory work to do. It will probably take about half a month. However, Ice Ancestor and the others will take care of those things. I don't need to be involved anymore. For such a large holy land to change its leader required a lot of preparation work. They also needed to inform the various big and small leaders within their sphere of influence. Lin Moyu smiled and said, then what do you plan to do for this half-month? He could see that Ji Hanyu must have come to find him for something. Ji Hanyu said, since I became Holy Lord, I haven't gone out much. Most times when I did go out, it was to kill people. While I still have authority over the origin spirit vein, I want to go around and see the mountains and rivers of the Holy Land. Lin Moyu could hear that Ji Hanyu had actually been carrying quite a heavy burden all along. When she took office, it was just after the Coldwater Holy Land's great battle with the Question Dao sect had ended. At that time, the Coldwater Holy Land was very unstable. She used harsh methods, killing many people. Over the years, she had been busy with Holy Land affairs. The time truly belonging to her wasn't much. If not for this, Ji Hanyu would have long since become an elder, rather than lingering at the 6th level of Dao Venerable. Lin Moyu said, I'll accompany you. Ji Hanyu smiled, Plum Ancestor. Little May immediately understood Ji Hanyu's meaning, I'll just cultivate here and wait for teacher and master's wife to return. Lin Moyu praised, your skill at reading people has improved. I'll bring you back something good to eat. Little May giggled, thank you, teacher. I hope teacher and master's wife have fun. Ji Hanyu said, where shall we go first? Lin Moyu thought for a moment, how about Thunder City? I'll introduce someone for you to meet. Ji Hanyu said, you mean that person in Thunder Mountain? Lin Moyu nodded, it's been many years since we met. I don't know how brother Tianlei is doing now. And those people in the Lei family, I should go see them too. Ji Hanyu originally had no destination in mind, then let's choose Thunder City as our first stop. She was ready to leave immediately, instantly using the Origin Spirit Vein for teleportation. With the Origin Spirit Vein, half a month was enough time for them to travel most of the mountains and rivers within the Coldwater Holy Land's territory. Colorful light flowed before their eyes, like meteors streaking past. Ji Hanyu's eyes held a smile. Laying down the heavy responsibility of Holy Lord was also a kind of liberation for her. In all these years, there had never been a moment when she felt as relaxed as now. Ji Hanyu felt her small hand fall into a warm embrace. Lin Moyu had grabbed her hand, and quite forcefully. She turned to look. Lin Moyu's expression was solemn, his gaze full of vigilance. Ji Hanyu realized something was wrong. What's the matter? Lin Moyu said, someone has interfered with the teleportation. We've entered a special space. Ji Hanyu looked surprised. That's impossible, right? Who could have such ability? Lin Moyu's expression became even more grave. I don't know. Relying on his space great Dao and extremely sensitive soul, Lin Moyu sensed the changes in the teleportation. They had entered a special space. Ji Hanyu said, do you have any way? Lin Moyu shook his head, no way for now. The space has already formed. I can sense that this space is very solid. We can't get out, we can only wait and see, and deal with things as they come. Ji Hanyu's expression also became serious. How could this happen? She wasn't afraid, just feeling somewhat surprised. With her knowledge, she couldn't understand why such a thing would happen. Who on the Origin continent could possess such ability? Lin Moyu's thoughts raced like lightning, leaving aside treasures and people I don't know about. Based on the information I do know, only those few could do something like this. In the cold water Holy Land, Ice Ancestor, Kang Ancestor, and Chen Ancestor, the 3 9th level Tao Venerables, rushed towards the sky at top speed. The three instantly met in space. Kang Ancestor's expression was grave. Did you sense it? Chen Ancestor's tone was calm. This power is very strong. Its level is higher than we imagined. Kang Ancestor said in a deep voice, the most terrifying thing is that besides us three, no one else can sense it. You should all know very clearly what this means. Ice Ancestor and Chen Ancestor naturally understood. The reason only the three of them could sense it was because the other party wanted them to sense it. Otherwise, they would be like everyone else in the Holy Land, completely unaware. To be able to do this, the other party's terrifying level had already far exceeded their understanding. Ice Ancestor closed her eyes to sense for a moment, then said in a low voice, I've lost connection with the origin spirit vein. Chen Ancestor said softly, we're all the same. The other party has suppressed the origin spirit vein and also suppressed the Great Formation. Ice Ancestor said coldly, what exactly does he want to do? Kang Ancestor said with some helplessness, no matter what he wants to do, we can only endure it. With his ability, destroying us would be as easy as turning over his hand. To be able to suppress even an 8th grade origin spirit vein and render the powerful Great Formation useless, this level of strength was far beyond what they could resist. In their understanding, even great Tao realm beings like the three ancestors wouldn't have this ability. Who exactly the other party was, what their background was, what they wanted to do, all became unsolvable mysteries in the three's hearts. Now they could only wait, unable to do anything. It was truly a case of the butcher holding the knife while they were the fish on the chopping board, with no power to resist. Lin Moyu and Ji Hanyu held hands, also waiting. The flowing light in their vision finally stopped. Lin Moyu sensed an unusual aura. The space they were in had completely separated from the origin continent. It's coming. He held Ji Hanyu's hand, imperceptibly moving half a step to shield her behind him. A green light flashed before their eyes, followed by laughter. Little one, long time no see. ko-fi.com/translate-toki only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to email protected translate toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a